This is Slaughter.
And this is Carnivore from Cruel Force, and we'll see you at the Tampa Morgue.
What's up? This is Tony, and you're listening to the Tampa Morgue Season 3, Episode 136. And from backstage somewhere in France, enjoying a day off from Monstrosity's Screams Across Europe 2026 tour, Mr. Ed Webb. Bonjour, Webb.
Merci beaucoup. How are you doing, brother? What the fuck is going on, man?
Doing great, man. Opened up the show with Germany's Cruel Force and the track Warlords off the band's new record, Haneda, that came out on Shadow Kingdom Records March 27th, and will be joined in about 25 minutes by the band's guitarist Slaughter and vocalist Carnivore. Before that, man, Ed, 5 shows done so far, man, and explain where you are right now.
We are somewhere in France. It's been a very strange day. We have a festival tomorrow with a bunch of bands. Benighted is one of them that's playing. They're killer. I know them. I've heard of them. But yeah, we've been circling the globe here, and it's been a rough 5 days. The bus is a sauna in our side of the bus, so I don't know if we're being punished or the devil is just welcoming us home. But yeah, it's been rough, man. I can't sleep. I'm still on US time. I know you know how that works when you transition. I go to bed at 5, which would be 11 o'clock my time, which is normally when I go to bed-ish. So yeah, it's been rough.
It makes sense, dude, because you're about in a week in. So far, I think you've played, 2 shows in Switzerland, 1 in Italy, 1 in Croatia, and 1 in Austria. So it's about a week in, and for me, whenever I go Tampa to Lithuania, it takes me about a week to get adjusted.
Yeah, it's seeming that way. I mean, I took Matt gave me a couple of melatonin or something the other night. I slept a little bit, but the bunk is so hot because there's no air coming out of the vents, and it's literally like cooking. And I have a fan I brought from home because I sleep with a fan. So I thought I had it all figured out, but I do not. It's
And
in
I
the
saw your
bunks,
bunk, Ed. It's like a little coffin.
dude. It's if you've toured on a bus in America, it's luxury. If you tour on a bus in Europe, you better hope you weigh like 120 pounds soaking wet because it's rough. But yeah, no, it's fun, man. We're having a good time. Shows are great. Um, Ivy is her name. She's the sound chick on this one, or sound woman. Sorry, no disrespect. And she is fucking killing it. I haven't had no issues with my voice like I did the last time. So I'm very happy. Crowd's been going good shows. I mean, everything's been good. The pizza sucks, just like I expected. So, yeah. Well, on the Dave Portnoy scale, we haven't tipped over 6.2, I think Lee gave. So that ought to tell you.
What venue are you at right now?
Oh, I don't know. I knew you were going to ask me that question. I can look it up, but we're actually outside of a cathedral. So there's like a school attached to this place. The stage is huge. It's the city. We walked around today, and it's absolutely incredible here. I can't, the sad part is I took 4 years of French in high school, and I can't, aside from numbers and a few, je m'appelle Edouard, I mean, the basic language, I had to use my Translate app at the Burger King. So that should tell you everything you need to know.
What's the best food you guys have had so far since you've been out there?
Hmm. Austria, probably. We had a day off, so we went to 2 different places. One place where we had this burger, and it was incredible, man. And then later on, we went to this place that had it looked like they had sausages and stuff. So we went there, and they got Lee kept asking if it came with fries, and I don't know what he was frites. He kept saying, and the
Fritas.
guy fritas, yes, yeah, and I'm like, and the guy's like, yes, and he kept pointing at this thing in the menu, and it was like a platter that had every kind of meat you can fucking imagine on it: chicken, pork, sausage. Lee's like, sure, I'll do that. And then he was looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. And then Sam did, it was just the 3 of us, and he did it, and they brought it out. And I was like, what am I supposed to do with it? It took me 2 days to eat it. Of course, those 2 dudes destroyed it in one sitting. I think the guy was a little annoyed because I think you share that. I didn't think he expected 3 American, fucking chunky donkeys to, well, 2.5 because Sam's not chunky, but, expected us to, eat
Slaughter the whole
our own.
thing.
Yeah, but I took mine home, so I proved him wrong. But yeah,
You
it's
guys
it's
play. You're off today, right? And tomorrow night, you guys play in France.
yeah. Yep, we got, I think, if I'm not mistaken, we played today and tomorrow, and then we have another day off. I don't know what's up with all the days off, and then, we have 6 in a row. So, and I think after that, the guys in Deadwood who are the opening band drop, and it's just Reject the Sickness, Biocancer, and then us the rest of the way.
And who's on the bus? Is it all 4 bands or is it just
Three,
3?
three bands, just the three bands I just mentioned, and Deadwood are following behind. I think they got a Sprinter van.
And
So,
Biocancer's from Greece, you said, right? And Reject the Sickness
correct,
is from Belgium.
correct. Yep. Yep, all cool guys. Everybody's, no issues. Everything. I mean, all four bands actually are different, like very different. So it makes it for a very eclectic show because when you go to see Deicide and pick three other death metal bands that are on a bill, you're just getting straight death metal. Where this Deadwood is a mix between, I don't want to say metalcore, but they're more like a Meshuggah at times than with death metal thrown in, and Reject the Sickness. I don't even know how to describe them. They're like they do a little bit of everything. Um, and then Biocancer are kind of really more old school thrash with the screamo type of vocal. So yeah, it's and the crowds are welcoming to everybody. It's been really positive. I'm surprised. You know what I mean? I didn't know what to expect. So,
First show,
but
though, you said you guys had some Spinal Tap moments going on.
yeah, 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 oh yeah, yeah. I blew the vocals in a song that I didn't want to play to begin with, but yeah, I blew it because Mark popped a string and the sound and everything went off, and then I didn't know where I was, and I thought I came in, and I did not, and yeah, I got flogged, man. You should see my ass. They took me outside with the cat tails and beat my shit in. Feel like I'm in prison again.
I talked to you obviously off of the show. You guys got what? So you have 15 more shows left, right? Or is it? Let me see
Yes,
here. 3, 4. So
yeah, I think
15 more shows left on this tour. Then you guys go back and do Maryland Death Fest in Milwaukee. Um, and yeah, I think it's going to be killer, man. And you guys got great weather too. You said I know we were talking. I think it was yesterday, and you were in Switzerland.
yes.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, we went and found a gym and it was free. It was the and it was a very, very, very high-end gym, um, with machines I've never seen before, and when I looked on the door and it said it was like 59 francs, Swiss francs a month, and I added that up and it's like almost $75. I'm like, "Well, I guess you gotta be rich to afford that shit." But yeah, I was wearing shorts, walked through to the city, took a bunch of pictures. It was Yeah, it's been real like today walking through France, it's just incredible. Um, I'm the weather is what shocked me because I walked off the bus with, like, sweatpants and the shirt, and I took myself right back on there and put shorts on. I was like, "No way." It's warm out.
Yeah, even here, man, in, Kaunas, Lithuania, we usually, like, it stays cold a little bit longer, but we've got more spring like, last year, it was colder during this time period. Now it's been really nice out and stuff, and you're getting the same experience, man, so, you know, it's awesome, and, yeah, dude, like we told everybody, we're gonna do shows still. Ed's on tour, but that's not gonna stop us, and again, we have Cruel Force coming on tonight. Also, if people we do have shirts. Ed does have some shirts with him on tour. So if you are going to a monstrosity show on this tour, Ed does have some Tampa Morgue shirts. I personally, for the European market, I have a box coming in either today or tomorrow, and it'll have smalls, mediums, because I've been out of those forever. A couple bigger sizes too. It'll have large and extra large and all that stuff. So you can get a hold of us for those at thetampamorgue@gmail.com. We do ship to the States and Europe. Um, if you're in the States, it'll probably take a couple weeks because Ed is on tour until when's your last date of the tour, Ed?
May 10th.
May 10th. So, but you will get them. And we got that. And upcoming guest wise, we have Scott Burns coming on, which we mentioned. He'll be on next week, I believe, but I'm definitely looking forward to that. We have Kenneth Swartov coming on from Gehenna and Nocturnal Breed, and we have Reverend Chris Hades from Sadistic Execution, uh, Bane Wolfkind, and obviously his own project, which is called Rev Chris Hades. I've been going back and forth with Mr. Hades for probably about 6 months now. Chris said he was going to come on, and now we have set it up. And that should be killer, man. I've never heard an audio interview with Chris. Anybody who's familiar with Sadistic Execution, um, You know, it should be definitely a killer conversation. So we're looking forward to that. So we have those guests coming on. We have some more stuff we're working on too. We'll announce when it gets closer. The last few weeks, we've been asking artists what they thought was the most influential or even their favorite um, band to come out of Tampa or the Florida area and their favorite record or what they think is the most important record to come out. And we've had some pretty good answers so far. We had what? Nasty Ronnie on. We had Jeff from Imprecation.
Lee Harrison, I think we had
We have
him
Lee
before
Harrison,
on.
which we haven't posted yet, which will come up on an episode. We had Kyle Thomas, who did one with us too. We've had basically all the guests that have come on the show. We've asked them the question, and we've been taking those answers and putting them to the side. So we've had the guests on the show. We've done full interviews with the guests, but we didn't put those answers in those episodes because we've kind of saved those answers exclusively for these episodes. So tonight we're going to ask Tom from Devastator out of the UK. We had him on episode 131, and again we asked him what he thought was the most influential, or I guess, his favorite band out of Florida, or a record that's most influential. Yeah, this is what Tom from Devastator out of the UK had to say, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this. Okay, Tom, in your opinion, man, what is the most important death metal or metal band out of Tampa, Florida, or Florida in general? And what is your favorite metal album out of that area?
Well, I was obsessed with death metal for a very, very long time, from my teenage years and into my 20s. So, the Florida scene is I'm quite somewhat well versed in for, at least Floridian death metal. And mainly my knowledge for Floridian metal is the death metal boom of the late 80s and the 90s. Um, it's probably a very generic answer, but I'd argue to say that the most important band, important, would probably be Death, simply because of um, the influence that Death has, not just in death metal, but in progressive metal and everything that came out in the 2000s. Because you can link a lot of stuff back to when Chuck and co, like Human's a great example. Like Human as an album, pretty much without Human being an album, you wouldn't have Obscura. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But as important as Death is, they are not my favorite. These guys are my favorite.
Yeah, Morbid Angel's a common answer too, man. Yeah.
And there's just something very haunting and twisting about Morbid Angel's music. And I'm actually, to throw a curveball, I mean, I love, it's because it's all alphabetical. I love, A through to C, Altars, Blessed, and Covenant. I kind of drop off at Domination because I'm not very keen on what David was doing with his vocals. I'm a David vocals fan before he quit smoking. But I do love the Abominations of Desolation. And it's something about, I'm even wearing the shirt. And it's something about the that release that, I kind of wish in a way that David's Altars voice was on it. Mike Browning's voice is still very palatable and still great and everything, but there's something really thrashy about that, which not quite where it is going to be when we get to Altars. And I think with that particular artwork on that version, not the one that Earache did, where it's all like blue and like it's been stamped on a metal door or something like that, because that was a terrible idea. That looks awful. But that one with the bed and the demons and the woman and the ripping apart, in with that Lovecraftian lyrical content and the evil occult nature of it, it almost, to me, Abominations of Desolation has like a sort of like first wave black metal edge to it. Like you could, if you didn't know what death metal was, but you knew what Bathory and Venom and the three guys behind me were, you could lump it into first wave black metal quite easily. So yeah, Abominations of Desolation, Morbid Angel is probably my favorite Floridian metal album, and I guess if we're talking about the most important band from Florida in these death metal, it's going to be Death, isn't it?
One more on this one, man. Browning or Vincent?
Oh, Vincent, but You know, Browning's still got a very palatable voice. You know, they've got they're very similar tonally. Like at least like if you know, Abominations and the key Nocturnus, and Altars and Blessed before David got real low. I think that they still have like this sort of perfect raspiness, so they do sound quite similar. You know, I don't know this for sure. I have no evidence to suggest this, but just by listening, it almost feels like David, because as far as I understand, David did the production for Abominations.
Yep.
So, in a way, to me, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, okay, if he's realizing, okay, I'm taking over my Browning, do I do my own spin on it, or do I do something similar? And I think maybe because I guess death metal and extreme vocals, to an extent, is still very much a new thing in the metal scene in general. Maybe he listened to Mike and thought, okay, I'll do a take on what Mike's doing with his vocal approach, and that's how we got David's voice on Altars. I don't know that's for sure, but you know, if you think about it like that, it would make sense. But yeah, I like Mike, but it's gonna have to be David, because there's just something in the way that evil rasp on Altars sounds, and when you move to Blessed, the way he pronounces certain words, like Day of Suffering, like it's something simple as like it's just right there, perfect little pocket moment, like done. So yeah, Vincent definitely.
I appreciate it, man. And that was Tom from Devastator out of the UK. And yeah, something we've been doing on the show. We're going to continue doing. So we appreciate everybody for, checking it out. And Ed, we'll run the Circle Studios promo. We'll do the releases. We'll do shows. And then we'll get to the guys from Cruel Force.
Let's do it.
So what do you do after this? You know, people don't, for someone who's on tour, man, you're pretty much sitting around for most of the day, right?
Yes, a lot. I've tried to explain this to my kids and my wife and anybody who will hear me screaming it from the mountaintops, that the hour we play is fucking great and the other 23 hours sucks. Absolutely sucks, because you're either sleeping, you're on a bus where this guy's absolutely trying to shoot you out of the bunk as fucking hard as he can. When I say that, I mean that with true. I hope he hears this, because I swear he's trying to launch us from that fucking bunk. And you wait for, if you like today with a day off, we're on our own for food. Well, today they opened the venue so we could at least use the bathroom and all that. But generally we're on our own for, food and everything else. I actually went and bought a room tonight, me and Sam, and I think Lee might use the room. And otherwise we're on the bus, but it's so hot and I haven't had any sleep. I figured, we're going to be here all day tomorrow. I'll just do it for once. I don't do it every time, but I'm doing it tonight just because I can't take it anymore.
Is there a show going on? 'Cause you're at the venue right now. Is there a show going on tonight also?
No, there actually is, not here, but across. I think they said it was a 7-minute walk, because everything's a fucking 7-minute walk in Europe, which is not a 7-minute walk. I'm just going to go ahead and break the news to you. So if somebody tells you it's a 7-minute walk, get your steps on, because I'm already at fucking 9,000 for the day. Basically they said 7 minutes away is a pre-show for tomorrow. So I don't know who's on it. I just caught the back end of it, and Mark Van Erps asked if I was going, and I said, well, I only heard 2 seconds of the conversation, so I don't know any bands or whatever. I can update next week if it's somebody killer and I missed it. But supposedly there's a show a few minutes away that is at another venue, like a pre-fest, I guess. We'll see. Don't know if I'm going. I don't know if I'm going, but it's there if I want to.
So what we're going to do now, man, is we're going to play the promo for Circle Studios in St. Petersburg, Florida, a place that me and Ed have rehearsed at for many years. And then we're going to play some Cruel Force. We're going to play Heavy Metal Mania from the Ancient Black Spirit 7-inch that came out on Heavy Force Records. It's a cover of Holocaust out of the UK, which was originally on the 1987-inch titled Heavy Metal Mania. So I just saw that Holocaust just released a box set called Dance to the Void Volume 2, complete recordings, 89 to 03. So anybody who's into Holocaust, you can check that out. So we're going to play the promo, do the Cruel Force cover of Heavy Metal Mania, do releases and shows, and then we're going to get the guys from Cruel Force on here. So, Ed, what do you think? Get it going?
Let's do it. Let's keep rolling, man. Play.
Here you go. So we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue after this.
Hello, Tampa Bay Morgue listeners. This is Joe from Circle Rehearsal Studio, Tampa Bay's rehearsal giant with 33 years of service. We know what you need to rock. Large, clean, quiet, cool, smoke-free, isolated rooms with the best gear at a musician-friendly price of $25 an hour. Professional, courteous, easygoing environment. Recently upgraded and remodeled with top-quality gear. Marshall, Ampeg, Pearl, Tampa, JBL, Yamaha, PB, and more. We have the experience and the gear to provide you with the best possible rehearsal experience at the best price. Just completed and soon to open Circle's demo studio for your recording needs. From laying down drum tracks to complete projects, we have you covered at a musician-friendly price. Also in the work is the Pro Rehearsal Room, freshly appointed and stocked with the best gear at nicely competitive rates. Our contact number is 727-546-8930. Our address is 10841 75th Street, Seminole, Florida, 33777. We have 7 large rehearsal rooms. Looking forward to seeing you soon. Thanks.
It's heavy, heavy.
Welcome back to the Morgue. If you're a new listener, we welcome you to the show. This is episode 136. In a few minutes, we'll be joined by guitarist Slaughter and vocalist Carnivore of Germany's Cruel Force. And the track you just heard was Cruel Force covering Holocaust's heavy metal Mania from Cruel Force's 2011 Ancient Black Spirit 7-inch. If you would like to contact us, you can email us at thetampamorgue@gmail.com or message us on the official Tampa Morgue Instagram page. The Instagram page is the best place to keep up with the latest on the show, upcoming guests, and basically anything Morgue related. We are in no way influencers. We are just an underground radio show that documents the history of extreme music with the artists who create it. We do no video, only audio, and we appreciate everybody who hangs out with us weekly. And as we said a few moments earlier, this is episode 136. You can go back and listen to 135 previous episodes for free at your own convenience. On past episodes, you will find interviews with artists like Pat from Hell Witch, Interceptor, Perversifier from Merrimack, ex-Ancestral Fog, and ex-Morte Incandescente. He also did live performances with Corpus Christi out of Portugal. Lee Harrison from Monstrosity, ex-Malevolent Creation, ex-Terrorizer, and ex-Midnight. That's 8-hour interview. We broke it up into 2 episodes. Atax and Scum of Germany's black metal band Pest. Hanna from Asagrum and ex-Wolvenblood. Yuha from Death Chain, Chamber of Light, and War Moon Lord. Jarno from Finland's Urn, ex-Barathrum and Graves. Kevin Desecrator from Destroyer 666, Sepulchre, Venefiction, and Profanation. Tony Thomas from Witch Vomit and Torture Rack. W. Horror Preacher from Vomit Angel, Mask of Satan, and Witch's Hollow. Chris Volcano from Abominator, Cemetery Urn, Denouncement Pyre, and Ex-Destroyer 666. That was his first audio interview ever. Nasty Ronnie, that's a deep dive into the history of Tampa and Nasty Savage. Anti, a.k.a. Necroterror of Cadaveric Incubator, ex-Torso Fuck, ex-Slugother, and Satanic War Master. Sadistic Fornicator and bassist The One of UK's Necromaniac. Revik from Mordant Red. Magnus of Norway's Aberration, ex-Condor, ex-Hecatomb, and ex-Mayans Hill. Simo of Finland's Flame and ex-Adorier. Daniel Avenger from Nocturnal, Angel of Damnation, and Black Priest of Satan. Eric from Goat Seaman, Evil Dam, ex-Sarum, and ex-Black Angel. Sergeant Salston from Deathhammer. We had Infernal and Odin of Disaster on here. Nige Rocket from Onslaught. Alessio from Violenter, ex-Hobbs Angel of Death, and the Mentors. Terry Butler from Obituary, Inhuman Condition, ex-Death, ex-Massacre, Left to Die. Adam Scott of Cardiac Arrest. Noella of Hexea out of Texas. Crusher of Finland's Morgul. Lord Sabathan from Slaughter Messiah, Heinous, ex-Enthroned, ex-Morbid Death. Yano of Anal Vomit out of Peru. Necromorbid out of Italy. Norway's Heimland. Ritual Butcher of Ark Goat. John Berry of Slaughter Messiah, Ancient Rites, and Nocturnal. Udo of Accept. Tony Dolan from Venom, Venom Inc. and Adamcraft. Luisma from Hemorrhage. John Berry from Slaughter Messiah, Ancient Rites, and Nocturnal. We had Vincent Crowley of Acheron, ex-Nocturnus, the Vincent Crowley Band on here. Possessor and S. Bellis of Austria's Transylvania. John and Marco of Germany's Witching Hour. Panzer Kampfwagen of Possession. We had Brian Kaz of Melting Rot. We had Chuck Billy of Testament on here for 2 hours. We had Dave and Jeff from Implication out of Texas. Germany's Lead Injector. Dawn of the Dead from Nunslaughter and Satanic Threat. Snowy Shaw of Merciful Fate, King Diamond, and Notre Dame. We had Dallas Toller Wade from Narcotic Wasteland and ex-Nihil on here. We had Kyle Thomas on a few times of Ex-Hoarder, Trouble, ex-Floodgate, Alabama Thunder Pussy. James Bailey of Brodequin and Liturgy. Matt Bishop from Human Artifacts, Horrific Demise, and Ex-Lividity. We had Tomas from Wolfheart on here. Henry of God Dethroned. King Fally of Deceased in October 31. Beelzebub of Mystic Circle. Blaine Cook of The Accused and The Accused AD. Gene from Perdition Temple, Malefic Throne, Ex-Angel Corpse, and Hexorcist. We had Alan Howarth on here, who did the music for Halloween, Escape from New York, Poltergeist, They Live, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Gremlins, and Star Trek, just to name a few. We had Lee Payne on here from Club and Hoof, the one and only Chris Reifert from Autopsy, Abscess, Eat My Fucking Violation Wound. We had Ryan Waste from Municipal Waste, Bat, and Vulture on here. We had Pooch of Raped Ape on the show. Harry Quokinen from Hooded Menace, Hail Conjurer, Horse Latitudes, and Hollow Woods. We had Dave Greger of Mortis Scold. We had Jim and Pat from Morbid Saint on the Morgue. Carl Kennedy from The Rods. Paul Speckman from Master. Bill Owen from Purgatory. John Gallagher of Raven. Dave Austin of Nasty Savage. David Howard Thornton, who played Art the Clown in Terrifier 1, 2, and 3, and the upcoming Terrifier 4. We had Lord Ahriman on from Dark Funeral. Bobby G of Overkill and Satan's Tate. John Walker from Cancer. We had Glenn Destructor from Australia's Destructor on the show, Witch Trap out of Colombia, Martin Missy from Protector, Phantom out of Mexico, Luciferian Rights out of Mexico, Rob from Lucifericon. We had Jeff Manis on here for 5 hours from Venom and Venom Inc. Takes us on a deep dive into the history of Venom. If you're a Venom fan, a must listen. And those are just some of the episodes you're going to hear. You could go back and listen to them all for free wherever you listen to your podcasts. What we're going to do now is do releases, then we'll mention shows, and then we'll get to our guests. And first I'll mention Bewitched, the Swedish black thrash metal band. They're putting out an album called Diabolical Death Mass on Osmos Productions. Bewitched formed in 1995, put out their first demo titled Hellspawn also in 1995. The band's first full length was 1996's Diabolical Desecration album. In total, Bewitched has released 1 demo, 2 EPs, 2 splits, 2 comps, a live album, and this will be their 6th full length. The new record, Diabolical Death Mass, will have 11 tracks and came out on Osmos on April 24th. And we're going to stay in Sweden, and we're going to mention the Swedish death metal band Exorcist. They're putting out an album called Aberrations on Hammerheart Records. Exorcist formed in 2020, and their first release was a single in 2021, and their debut album, Deadly Possession, came out in 2022. They also put out a full length in 2023. Aberration will be the band's 3rd full length, and it'll have 10 tracks and came out on April 24th. Next, we're going to go over to the UK death metal band Infected Dead. They're putting out an EP called Invicta on Hostile Media. Infected Dead formed in 2014. First release was an EP in 2017 titled Archaic Malevolence. The band has also put out singles in 2019 and 2026. Invicta has 4 songs on it, and it came out on April 25th. And then we're going to go over to The Funeral Procession. It's a Dallas, Texas death metal band. They're putting out an EP called Carry On. It's self-released. The Funeral Procession formed in 2008. In 2011, it reformed in 2023. First official release was until 2024. It's a full length titled In Still Silence. The band has also put out an EP in 2025 that was titled Deliverance. The band features members past and present of Persecution Complex, Prophecy, The Bleak Within, Necrotic Altar, and Sons of a Sinner. Carry On has 3 tracks and is available April 27th. And then we're going to go to the Australian thrash metal band In Malice's Wake. The Profound Darkness is the name of this release. It's self-released. In Malice's Wake formed in 2002. First release was a 5-song demo in 2003. In total, the band has released 1 demo, 1 EP, 1 live album, and this will be the band's 5th full length. In Profound Darkness has 11 tracks and will be available May 1st. And we're going to wrap this up with the Finnish heavy metal band Cobra Force. They're putting out a self-titled album. It's also self-released. Cobra Force formed in 2024, put out a single in 2024 titled Live, Breed, and Kill, Grim Voices. They also put out a single in 2025 and 26. The band features members of Serpent Warning, Cadaverous Knight, Orphan Devil, and Maniac Abductor. The self-titled debut has 8 tracks. It'll be available May 1st. All I have for shows is Raven and Slackjaw playing at the Oscura in Bradenton, Florida, Sunday, May 3rd. And the man himself, Alice Cooper, Sunday, May 3rd in Pensacola, Florida at the Pensacola Bay Center. He has a few more dates, Cooper, too. I'll mention those next week. We're a weekly show, so that's all I'll cover now. And because I want to get to the guys from Cruel Force. So, Ed, unless you got anything else, man, I say we get the band on.
Yeah, man, let's do it, man. I'm just happy to
Great.
be on here right now.
Yeah, we're going to play some Cruel Force. We're going to play March for the Pentagram off the Rise of Satanic Might record that came out on Heavy Force Records. And we'll be back with Slaughter and Carnivore from the band after this.
What's up, guys? This is Ed from the Morgue, and if you're like Tony and I and dedicated to working out, and you're from Tampa or will be visiting Tampa, I'm going to let you in on the best-kept secret gym in the area, Tampa Family Fitness on the corner of Bears and Florida Avenue. And unlike the big box gyms where you're just a name and a number, the owners, Sarah and Eddie Amaral, have created a community where you're not just another face lost in the crowd. They also have, hands down, the best trainers in Tampa, with Coach J, Jared Perea, who I've personally witnessed take his clients to award-winning bodybuilders. Not to mention this dude is an absolute beast himself. So if you want to get in the best shape of your life, this is definitely the place to do it, and these are the people to do it with. So if you want a no-frills gym experience that I can only describe as old-school Arnold Schwarzenegger on Venice Beach with no fancy machines, just get in, get your ass kicked, get a crushing workout, then you want to go to Tampa Family Fitness at 14968 North Florida Avenue. And if you're a band that's traveling to Tampa and playing the Orpheum or the Brass Mug, this is literally less than a 5-minute drive from either location. There's a QR code on the door. Just scan it, pay $10, and you're good to go for the whole day. Or if you're in Tampa and you want to see what all the hype's about, stop in and get a day pass. And make sure you tell them Ed sent you from the Tampa Morgue.
Satan, burn the son of God. Rain
And that was Germany's Cruel Force with March of the Pentagram. And we are joined by the guitarist Slaughter. How's everything in Germany, man?
Everything's fine. It's a sunny day. It feels like Floridian weather, but yeah, it's totally cool.
Nice, man. And we will be joined by Carnivore here in a little bit, too. You guys just played a release show for the new album with Hellish Crossfire, Sex Mag, and Crank. How was that event?
That's been a total blast. Like, this was such a cool event. Like, it was a gathering of old friends we haven't seen for many many years. Basically, it felt like seeing the same faces we've seen when we formed the band in 2008. Just everybody has gotten older, but it was a total success. Like, it was just a pure pit of like head banging people, fist raising. Like, I haven't seen a show that energetic in a long time, I have to say. This was pretty wild.
Nice, man. And that was sold out, too, that event.
It was sold out. The venue was basically too small for what we wanted to do, but it was like very close to our rehearsal room, and it's cool venue too. But it could have been double or like maybe triple the size.
And you guys have a show coming up. I think it's at the end of the month, maybe April 23rd with Morbid.
That's true. Yeah, we're co-headlining the warm-up show for the Keep It True festival along Morbid and like a Swedish news and like a band called Templar. They're quite good. Check them out if you don't know. They released the album. It's fucking cool.
Nice, man. And first of all, do we also want to congratulate you on the new record, man? So this is the follow-up to 2023's Dawn of the Axe. And how excited are you and Gigi Alex and Carnivore and Spider to get this album out?
It's finally because like it was supposed to be out like already like half a year ago minimum. So now it feels like some heavy like heavy load is off my chest. Finally, like the people can listen to it and like it or hate it or whatever. But it feels good to have it finally out. It's feels good. It's exciting.
And Haneda, that's your second album with the Shadow Kingdom Records.
Exactly. Yeah. Tim released it like the second album now.
And how did the relationship start with Shadow Kingdom?
So basically, when we announced our kind of like comeback, so to say, maybe I don't know if this is the right word, but so we've been like many people approached us, or label and business people approached us, so they might be interested in working with us. We're not the best business people and all that. So we were listening to all of them, what they had to offer, and I have to say, Tim easily had the best offer. So of course, Shadow Kingdom Records, the name we heard the name before, so we made some background checks if he's reliable and trustable, since like there's the Atlantic in between us, obviously, and for a German band to work with an American like label might not be like the obvious choice, but I have to say, like, it came together naturally. There's this kind of like business friendship, um, and we're happy. Like, so this was to us the right decision. Still feels right. He allows us everything what we want to do. We have total freedom. We can do whatever the fuck we want, and we can tell him like, okay, we'd love to do this, and he says like, so whatever you think is good for the band, I try to make possible for you, because like you know best what works best for your band. And also he understands that when the band is happy, the creativity sparks, and then he also will sell more records if the quality is good. So it's beautiful business partnership.
On this show, we always start out before you were in the band. What part of Germany are you from, and what year were you born?
I've been born in '91, and I'm from southwest of Germany. So from the Germany is divided in states, so to say, and the state would be Baden-Württemberg. Born and raised.
And were you raised in a household where you were surrounded by music?
Yeah, but like natural music. Like none of my parents were like heavy listeners. They had some records and all that, but they were not music. Aficionados, so to say, or something like that. It's just like the radio stuff, whatever came on. My mother listened to some rock songs in the '90s, which was popular, like in MTV or something like that. My dad occasionally listened to a rock song, but he listened to some oldies and all that. So I wouldn't say they had a big influence on my musical style too much. I wouldn't say.
For you, an influence was a friend's father at a barbecue. He used to play his mixtapes that he had in the '90s.
That's actually true. Yeah, yeah. And my father hated it because they like it. They've been those long-haired guys, you know. Um, they've been bringing like tapes, whatever, imported stuff. My dad, they put it on, drank beer, and my dad hated it. So maybe that's why I liked it. I don't know.
Do you remember the first band or even song that really caught your attention? You know, was it the Sabbath or like was it even deeper than that early on?
So funnily, like recently, I've been visiting my mother for Easter, and she told me the story. She had told me before, but I forgot about it. So it must have been like when I was like I don't know, maybe like 4 years or something like that. And in the radio there was like AC/DC Highway to Hell being played, and I didn't know about AC/DC or whatever. But she said like that guitar riff made me like like dancing to it and playing the air guitar so unconsciously this was already like a maybe draw me to attention. That's what she thought. So
And the first record you owned, she had picked you up actually, it was Number of the Beast from Maiden?
exactly, yeah.
And you were was you like, when you first hear this, what was it, the beginning was what, Barry Clayton, the whole, the intro and everything. How did how did that hit you when you first heard that record?
I mean, like like at the times, I didn't know that what the term heavy metal existed. I even asked my mother, so I knew this was hard and this was dark and evil and all that kind of stuff. So I asked my mother, like, what kind of music is this? What is this called? Because I know it's not hard rock. It's harder than hard rock, so to say. And she said because like in Germany, the old generation, they speak a little bit English, but not that good. She was saying like it's heavy metal, like pronouncing it wrong. So this stuck to me, and I was yeah, I listened to heavy metal, and I knew it was extreme, and I loved the cover art, and I knew it was edgy as a kid. So the energy like from Invaders, like piercing and Bruce Dickinson's piercing's vocals, this was just like something like wow, this is I didn't even know as a kid how what I should make out of it. It was just like so energetic, but also like hurting my ears a bit in a good way. So I had to listen to it over and over because I was obsessed until I understood what's actually happening. I was too young.
And your first gig that you were taken to, your first big gig was, the Dance of Death tour from Iron Maiden, which
Exactly.
would that be October 25th at, Snyder Hall?
Schleierhalle, exactly. Yeah.
That's 2003, that was your first
Yes.
big concert?
Yeah.
Had you been to any shows before that? Anything like small gigs or anything?
And there were some like tribute kind of bands, but not specific to heavy metal. They play all rock covers and all that. I've seen some of that, but not. I wouldn't say proper gigs or something like that. This was very much village town like stuff.
And how was your, first big concert? Did you kinda know then, you seeing Made in 2003, like, what was the vibes going through you at that time period?
I mean, I was super excited. I knew all the songs. I bought like a Dance of Death, the album when it came out. I already had like the Rock in Rio VHS box set and all that. So at this time, I was already a full blown metalhead, very young, but I knew exactly what was happening. So I couldn't sleep for days. I was just wanted to like line up and like what am I to expect? Going there with my uncle and all these kind of things. This was pretty impressive. I'm like, yeah, this was crazy.
So for you, what is, is it Bruce or, Blaze or Paul? What's your favorite front man of the band? And what's your favorite I know you're a fan of the whole catalog pretty much, but what is
Yeah.
your first of all, what's your favorite record? Would it be Number of the Beast because that's your first?
I would say like Number of the Beast, but because like this captures everything like I love in Maiden. So but I love them all seriously. I can't say like which is the best singer or whatnot because I love the Blaze stuff as much as I love the Bruce stuff. Sometimes it depends on the mood. Of course, Bruce is like the classic frontman. That's the classic lineup. I can see that. When I was, for example, when I was a kid and like when I found out about Number of the Beast and all that, um, I also got like the tape of the X Factor later, and my English was very limited. I didn't know the band's names, the members' names, and the funny thing is, I didn't even realize there was a different singer. So to me, everything was neutral. I couldn't hear that there was a difference in singer, so I judged just by my heart. and I loved them equally, you know. Like later I found out that's not Bruce Dickinson, you know. Then it was like, aha, this is another singer. But to me, it sounded equally as good.
When do you start, like, getting into the more extreme bands like the Bathories or Hellhammers, Venom, Iron Angels, and stuff like that? When does that start coming across your radar?
Well, that's like this happened also very naturally, you know, like when like Metallica came into the life, and then you like looking for a bit. I was never looking for more extreme as in harder, because I was heavy with like I was happy with like Accept and all these kind of things. So I mean, some people they look to listen to have some more extreme. Sometimes more extreme music was just more noise to my ears and less melody, which I didn't like. So it took me quite a while to like to understand like heavy music. So with Metallica, at some point, Slayer came into the life. So there was like, okay, Raining Blood, this is a classic album. You need to check this out, you know. And Raining Blood was a gateway to Sodom and like these kind of things. So once you understood Sodom, the first stuff, like then it was easy to understand Bathory too, you know. So I think Venom. I've seen Venom live in 2006, and been a fan before. But when I've seen them live, seen their show, this was like also a big gateway into like understanding the aesthetics even more. This as a kid, like in 2006, I was like, I don't know, like 14 years, you know.
At what age you first pick up a guitar? Is it around that time period?
It was when I watched Rock in Rio, when I've seen the video in 2001, or 2002, like shortly after. I picked up a cheap guitar, but didn't start to play properly. It took some time, but
Are you self-taught?
I'm pretty much self-taught. Yeah, I had some occasional lessons here and there, but um, I'm self-taught. I'd say yes.
Do you remember the first song you learned how to play along with?
Yeah, the first riff would have been like "Smoke on the Water" or "Whole Lotta Rosie" by AC/DC, which is played wrong, but like the do 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 do, you know, like that, just like barring like the first frets and like these kind of things.
Great song, yeah.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
And the first band you played with, was that, Deadly Vengeance? And it was you and, Evil Warrior who played in that band?
Exactly. Yeah, yeah. There was like Deadly Vengeance. This was the first band, which then became like a Godless Crusade kind of thing, and but yeah, so we found like some local musicians and all that. Um, but this was nothing yet. We had a different vision still, you know, but we were so young. We knew we wanted to be like the creator kind of style and like that, the Venom kind of stuff. And yeah.
Did you guys do, like, live gigs? With that 'cause that would be the first band you played on a stage with ever?
No, the first gig I've ever done was with Godless Crusade. I played one show with them. This was the only show I played before we played shows with Cruel Force.
Okay, so you did the Deadly Vengeance, and then you go over to which is more of a Swedish death metal band, right? The Godless Crusade at first, when you first joined
No,
that band?
actually, no. Actually, like I think when they started out, I remember I was 14 at the time, so I was looking to play in a band, just to play in a band to get experience, you know, and for my own band. It was not easy. And those guys, they were all older. They were like 17 to maybe 22, 23. So of course, when I was 14, I couldn't tell that I'm 14, so I lied about my age and told them, yeah, I'm 16, just to have the chance to jam with them. You know, of course, like who wants to play with a 14-year-old kid when you're like 22? Obviously, you know. So they had this kind of Swedish kind of stuff going, like that In Flames kind of stuff, and like, but we didn't like that. So I got our bass player, like the Evil Warrior, into the band, and we like captured the band and said, okay, like we play thrash metal now. So we changed the whole kind of thing. From that point, it was actually like thrash what we've been playing.
And at that time, you're starting to get into more into like, really wanting to play the classical metal more than what you were playing with that band?
I mean, like that was the goal from my day one. To be honest, like I never wanted to play like death metal or Swedish death metal or melodic death metal. Like this is to this day, I love like death metal. I love that, but I don't have interest in playing melodic death metal. Never had, you know. Like
And then you do that band. Was there no recordings with that band? Godless Crusade?
there has to be like at least like 2-3 songs or something like that. Like badly recorded, like unmixed something, but not really like not a proper recording, not shared to the public or something like that.
And you and Gigi Alex also played in a band, Sphinx. Was that during that same time period?
No, that was later. That was after we disbanded Cruel Force. Alex and I played in Sphinx, which is like basically what Cruel Force is nowadays with the Middle Eastern, with like the whole mystical, mythological kind of stuff, the rainbow scorpions kind of thing. We played it in a heavy rock outfit. This was from 2014. Alex joined a bit later. I think he joined the band a year after, something like that.
2008 is when you guys become Cruel Force, and it's you, Gigi Alex, Carnivore, and then Necromorris. Where do you guys meet hanging out at shows?
So like there was this like huge like new wave of like thrash metal fans, I would say, not bands, because like there was like the same people around the same age, um, all coming together at the same time, you know, like so we met at the every trash show there was, you know, like being Sacred Reich or what a Carnivore played or whatever. Like so all the same people were traveling through Germany together at the same kind of like trash shows. And so this is where you met most of the people who are still there today. Like we came all like this was a new wave in Germany, just fans, you know. I haven't seen something like that until today.
And when was the first like official like you guys first get into a room and jam together? And you guys are doing covers at first, or you guys?
Yeah, we done just like the typical covers. Um, I could this must have been like early 2008 where we met, where we found out that actually Alex has a rehearsal room, and you know, like Carnivore, because he never played in the band before, who wants to sing and all that. So this was the first time we just jammed or first met and talked about our vision, then we made a list about songs, what everybody should learn until the next time. So yeah.
And how many days are you guys early on? You know, you guys jamming like 6 days a week, 5 days a week?
No, because since we lived all quite apart and everybody was like not having a driver's license, you know, I had to take the train. This took like I was an apprenticeship. I had to take the train like it took like 3 hours to go to the rehearsal room. You know, like this was a different state in Germany and all that, so we all had to travel. We could maybe rehearse like every week, every other week in the beginning, and because first it was just like okay, let's jam. You know, there was not that specific. Okay, we want to make a demo, a record, and all that. So first it was pretty loose, and then when we felt like, okay, let's write some more own songs because this sounds cool, this is fun, then it got more serious. Let's meet more often, you know?
And the band name is influenced by Obsessed by Cruelty and Violent Force?
Exactly.
Was that the first name you guys thought of and went with, or did you guys have any other things you were tossing around?
Maybe there were other names, but I can't remember any. But this was like pretty quickly chosen. Yeah.
And what was the first original? What was the first song written by Cruel Force?
I'm not too sure. Maybe like Carnivore can help later. It must have been either Deathstrike or Victim of Hellfire, maybe.
So I'm gonna play actually Deathstrike from the demo now. So you know I'm gonna play that from the Into the Crypts demo, and then we're gonna talk about the demo a little bit that came out in December of 2008. Anything you could tell us about this song?
Yeah, like we had a second guitar player in the beginning, I remember, but we played that song with the second guitar player, sounded shit, so we dropped him.
So I'm gonna play some Cruel Force now from the 2008 demo that's titled Into the Crypts. We're gonna play the song Deathstrike, and we'll be back with Slaughter after this track on the Tampa Morgue. And that was Cruel Force with Deathstrike. So with the demo, we'll talk about the recording the demo now. So you guys actually recorded it on a 4-track that you guys borrowed from Witching Hour?
That's true. Yes, that's true.
And are you guys all practicing in the same area at that time? Because you know what, in 2008, what is the scene like that you can remember when you guys first start out?
I said like there were basically no other youngster bands except I remember there was Ketzer from Germany, Ketzer, and Witching Hour. They've been like going a year before us, or maybe like 2 years. And look, there's Carnivore.
What's up, Carnivore?
And so like there were basically not many other bands, and like from the older, more like the veteran bands, there was like Nocturnal, Old, Hellish Crossfire, and Witchburner. Those were the bands, you know, like it was pretty dead. But as said, at that time, like all the youngsters, they gathered together and everybody was coming, and there was like every there was like a new band every other weekend, you know, like forming all of a sudden, like mushrooms, they came out of the like the ground, you know. But before that, it was pretty much dead, I would say.
And how long does it take you guys to get together the material for the Into the Crypts demo before you guys start recording it?
I think maybe like this was like maybe like 4, 5, 6 months. I remember we've been recording it in winter at the end of the year. I'd say maybe like November, December. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, we formed in June and we recorded in December. So yeah, like 6 months, something like that. 5,
Right.
6.
And whose idea was the cover you guys did? You guys did a Metal Inquisition from Piledriver?
Don't
Good
remember.
question. There were we've been talking about a couple of like songs we could possibly do. I remember there was talks about Iron Angel and all that, but we couldn't find any lyrics. So because we always loved the speed metal side of things, you know, and also had like great lyrics because that fitted our attitude back in the day as it does today. So we decided Piledriver was cool because also not many other bands have done it at the time.
And who's writing the lyrics on the demo? Is it you, Carnivore?
For the demo, I think that was half me, half Slaughter. I'm not quite sure anymore. Or was it just one song from you? It was Victim of Hellfire from him for sure.
Yeah.
And the rest was me, I think. I think so.
I think the song "Cruel Force," Deathstrike, and Witch's Curse have been written by you, and I think "Victim of Hellfire" was by me or partly by me, and like I think we shared like the last like verse or something like that.
Last verse was mine, and the rest was you, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
And where do you guys get the art for the demo? And who does the Cruel Force logo that you guys used on that cover?
I think the picture was just more or less stock image,
Like a
really
book or
stock
something to pull from a.
like that. I remember seeing it from like you know, my mother used to run the library, and they had like a bunch of books about witches, witch trials and shit like that. And I remembered that picture. We looked for something, and I thought like I know that one. And yeah, that's why, at least that's the way I remember it.
Yeah, I think you came up with the cover art. You told us, yeah, you found some old copper kind of like thing, and this looks like medieval, witchy, whatever, you know, like that could fit the stuff. Because we have to say at this time we didn't like, now it's easy. You go on Instagram, you look for some cover artist, you see some people, everybody's presenting themselves, you see their whole portfolio and everything. Back then we didn't know like where are people who can possibly draw something for us. So we took that just because we thought it looked cool, and we didn't know anyone else.
Well, and you guys are right, because even, me and Ed are in bands, and how many artists you get from all, a portfolio sent to your Instagram Messenger all the time, like, here's some drawings for $100 or whatever, it wasn't like that back
Exactly.
then.
Right.
It was a whole different world. Are you guys sending the demos out to the zines and stuff and the radio shows?
And not so much the radio shows because there were none, I would say. Also, like it was a demo, nobody wanted to hear us. But like there was we've been through MySpace, we've been selling our demo, and it was like first I think we'd done a batch of like 50 copies, which we thought we'll never like ever sell out because we copied it ourselves, so okay, 50 will be too much, but it was sold out so quickly, so we decided, okay, we make another batch like of like 100 without a button. The first edition had a button or something like that, but just by word of mouth it was sold out so quickly. Like, it was crazy for us to believe that somebody would want even to listen to our music.
And you guys don't do, especially back in the day, you guys aren't doing a shitload of shows, which we'll talk about. Also, when is the first official Cruel Force show? Besides, I'm sure you guys probably had people hanging out in the band room like we all did when you guys are jamming and stuff like that. But when is the first official, like, you would consider the Cruel Force show?
Well, that was together with Hellish Crossfire, Enforcer, and Portrait. I think that did in Pforzheim. That was like February of 2009.
Yeah, I'd say like, yeah, February 2009 with these three bands, which was fucking impressive because like Hellish Crossfire were our gods, like from those thrash metal bands.
Mhm.
And Enforcer and Portrait were also like up and coming, the Swedish heavy metal wonder kids kind of stuff, So at least Portrait for me was I love them very much, the first album. This was
same.
pretty cool to play as a first show.
That was a good one back then, and they were pretty hyped. And Hellish Crossfire were fucking cool as shit, and so we were very lucky to get that show. We played for a crate of beer. I remember that.
Nice.
And we never seen the fucking crate of beer because
isn't
they
that some
went out
shit?
of beer and asked if they can have our crate of beer, and we were like naive enough. Yeah, of course.
How soon after the demo release does the bassist Necromorse leave the band?
He was already gone for that show by the back then. I remember like he had something with his university studies or something that he couldn't go. And then the next show we had, he also had the same shit again. And then we were like, dude, like, I mean, it's not like we play every week. Can you at least make that happen? And he couldn't. And it just turned out he was really not that interested.
Is that when Mikkel comes back in from Evil Warrior on bass?
Yeah.
That was an old buddy of Slaughter's. So
Yeah. That's like I actually forgot about like the Necromorph story, but we talked about it like recently in an interview too, so it refreshed my mind. Yeah, since he couldn't play the gig, I said like, okay, I know this guy. I used to play in the band before, as we just talked before, because the others didn't know him or have seen him maybe like only a handful of times. So yeah, it came handy since it was easy to fill the spot in a short notice.
And are you guys, because like, again, you guys aren't too active early on. Are you guys just starting to write again? Are you starting to put together material for the debut full length, The Rise of Satanic Might, at that time period? Like right when you guys do the demo, you do your show, are you guys already thinking ahead?
To be honest, I can't recall if we've been like planning the first album at this time already. Could be. I think we must have had a few other songs already at that time, but I don't know what was going on in our like minds at that time.
I think, I think it was more along the lines of like, yeah, we're playing shows now, but we only have like 4 songs, and then we have to fill everything up with covers, so we get to half an hour or 40 minutes or something, whatever they wanted us to play. They definitely need more songs, and of course, he's always been the creative one here. He was always writing shit. At least as I recall. So yeah, that's how we put that together. I think like Forces of Hades must have been was one of the earlier ones that we wrote.
Yeah, because The Rise of Satanic Might, right? You guys had 3 of the tracks were on the demo, and plus you have a cover on that one. And yeah, what are some of the covers you guys are doing live to fill up that space at that time period?
Judas Priest, Hellbent for Leather.
But not at that show. At the specific first show, we've done Bomber, Motorhead,
Alright.
and I think Venom Black Metal. Those were the 2 covers, if I'm correct.
Yeah. And then later it was Hellbent for Leather and Running Wild and yeah, what was it? Chains and Leather.
Yeah.
Yeah. More Motorhead.
Yeah, like a couple of different Motorhead tunes. We always, I don't know why we always ended up with a Motorhead tune, which is totally fine, of course. But just like, okay, like it seemed like we've been a Motorhead cover band, like
Yeah.
like every gig another Motorhead cover song.
You can never go wrong with Motorhead.
No, never.
And so you guys added like what? So 5 additional songs on that besides the cover for that for the Rise of Satanic Might. And did Evil Warrior contribute on any of the writing? Because he was only in the band what from 2009 to 2010. Was he also helping with the new material that you guys were bringing in, or Slaughter? Are you just writing the demos and bringing it to the band?
He was more holding us up, helping. No, just kidding. No, like he didn't write. He didn't write.
And you guys are all, you guys are all teenagers, 2010. How is the chemistry in the band during the writing sessions? Are you guys kind of, at that time period, are you guys drinking, partying together?
Yes.
We've been drinking a lot.
Yeah.
That's certain.
And, in your local scene, 2010, you look at some of the, you have Nocturnal, we had Daniel Avenger on here. We had a couple of the guys from Disaster on here. Creator. When you guys start actually realizing the history of your scene,
I would say in the German metal scene, everybody was well aware about the German metal scene from like even young on, because there was always the talk about the Teutonic metal scene. This was always a thing. So we've been like born into that feeling and like into the heritage and the appreciation of like the old bands. This was always a thing in Germany, I'd say. So we were fully aware, not that we are contributing to it, but that we love the German Teutonic metal scene, starting from Scorpions, except Scorpions not as metal, but like the forefathers of the heavy rock music movement. And since like Creator, the Sodom, Destruction have always been like that, the 3 big German thrash bands, we were fully aware, I'd say.
and you guys record Rise of Satanic Might in 2009 at Toxo Music Studios. You guys work with Wally Wardorf of Toxoplasma. And actually, the original name of the album was going to be Victim of Hellfire, but then you guys kind of saw the album sketches and changed your mind?
Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly right. Yeah. I mean, like, I remember like the guy drew some sketches that were more or less on the comedic side of things, and I don't know. The best one he did was like some guy getting pulled into a fire of hell, and in the background there was like a devil sitting on a throne, like a tiny one. We were like, that thing in the background, make that bigger, and that's how that came about. And then we ended up with that cover. It didn't have anything to do with Victim of Hellfire exactly. So yeah.
Yeah, and also I remember like when we got we told the guy like Velio, so the title is gonna be Victim of Hellfire, and I remember one of the first sketches he's shown us was like people in a car, in a random car with the lights on, and the devil and the hellfire, like it gets swallowed by flames in the car or something like that. I don't know. Correct me, Michael, but
It was just like basically 2 scared people in the car going like, and like 2 bats or something flying behind them. Like, yeah.
and and we were like, oh man, like okay, this is so wrong on so many levels. Like this is not what we want to represent. We should like either we tell him like, okay, this is total bullshit, or we just change like the album's name to make it easier for everyone. So that's like, yeah.
Isn't that the worst too? Because when you're at that age, I mean, I've had that you get these, the artist turns over what you want for your album covers. And sometimes at first when you're kind of afraid to tell them, hey man, this is not what we're looking for at all. I'm sure now you guys have done this so long where now it's like, you guys know what you want and it's kind of, you got to be upfront about it. But at that time period, are you guys kind of timid where you're like, we don't want to piss this guy off, but, cause you guys met this guy through Steph of Heavy Force Records, right? Valio Justo, I believe his name is.
Yeah, I don't know how you pronounce it properly, Velio Hosto, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, that's true, because like everybody's polite and you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings and all that. But I have to say that I remember that video after he worked with us, he apparently said he never wants to work with us again. So we stepped on his feelings most likely. I mean, we worked with him later and it was all fine and I expected like more shit coming from him, to be fair, because then I remembered he hated us. So I don't know. So not I don't think, I hope not that we've been respectless to him, but I think we've been like, no, can you change this? Can you do this? Like more like asking him to be a machine for us, like not to put his creativity aside after the car incident, literally. Uh, and just do whatever we want, and I think he wasn't happy about that. He did. We were happy with the Satanic Might cover since it was cool, since now it was like the devil in the cold mountains, basically, which doesn't even make sense, but the colors looked great. It had like this like powerful image
That
to
blue
us,
color, yeah.
This was cool.
Yeah, I'm going to play a track from that record, and we'll talk more about that record. I'm going to play Satanic Might from the record. Anything you could tell us about this track?
Oh, what can I tell? Connie.
Connie. I remember I wrote those lyrics in class when I should have paid attention.
Ah. We're going to play that track now. This is Cruel Force with Satanic Might off the Rise of Satanic Might record that came out on Heavy Forces Records in 2010, and we'll be back on the Tampa Morgue with the guys from the band.
Like the beast, deadly blood, evil
and that was Cruel Force with Satanic Might. And at that time earlier we were talking about the drinking and stuff. Now, during that recording, were you guys drinking a lot? And how was working with Wally Waldorf?
Yeah, we were drinking a lot. That's correct. And yeah, I mean, what do you do when you're away with your buddies for like a week or something in another town? You're getting paid to be there and shit. I mean, not much, but I mean, at least a little bit. The recording session was paid. Let's put it like that.
First time in a real studio for you guys too?
Yeah, of course. Like the demo, we only had like a 4-track machine, and yeah, I mean, Wally is like an old punk legend here in Germany, and he's a funny fucker, but he's not much of a producer. He's more like of a guy that knows where all the buttons are. And so when you give him a very good direction, he will make it. It will turn out well. But he's also from that old punk school of things where it's like when you play a solo for the second time, he's like, "We get on with it now."
Fancy,
Second, and yeah, that
Yeah,
it was-
he has shown us all the time like what he thinks about the guitar solo, so to say. And the funny thing is, so because we came pretty unprepared because of solos, like I have to say, because like when we rehearsed, I usually played the rhythm guitar and some solos, but the rest was like, okay, give me the back into the rhythm guitars and let me jam a bit to it. Give me like 15, 20 minutes and I'll come up with a solo. And he was sitting there and waiting and always like but we didn't care because we also been drinking a lot. Like, yeah, fuck off. Like, this is our studio time now. So yeah, but we made it happen. And the funny thing is, so because we've been basically at that time, I was the only one with the driver's license, which I just have gotten like maybe like 4, 5, 6 months ago. And so we drove there like literally after I got my driver's license to visit him for the first time to see how it works, because we haven't had a clue. Like, what is, like, how do you record? What is mixing? What is mastering? How do you do this? Like, physically and everything, like, how's it working? So we went there and asked, so like, since we're all students and we don't have like a dime, whatever. And he made us that special price. I think it was like 800 euro or 1,000 euro total, the full album production and mix and everything, which is like now like unthinkable nowadays in a
Yeah, it's
proper
crazy.
studio. But I think he hasn't had any like one coming and wanted to recording because of his attitude, maybe, I don't know. So we went there. Everybody had just like needed like 250 euro in the pockets, and we had to pay him like the hard cash after we recorded. And so our bass player Michael, he, like, because we are students, none of us had any money. He ran out of money after the first day because he spent it all on whatever the fuck he was like spending it on drinks and drugs or whatever bullshit at the train station. So he had to call his mother that he's broke, and his mother was angry. So he told her like that he's broke, he's hungry, he needs food and all that, making up all like those excuses. And she was like crying and sending like those fast like whatever, wired him like 400 more euro just so he has food, whatever. And he spent it on the next day or the next 2 days again. So we haven't had the money to pay the record because of
Oh,
him.
shit.
Again.
And that's why he departs in 2010. But
That was one of many reasons.
you guys are doing that, and so the track "Victim of Hell," which I don't know what I was reading it, but I read an interview with you, Slaughter, I believe, and you had said that track really made a path for Cruel Force. Can you explain that?
I would say like when I look back at it, also like now the riffing style and like that's typically, I would say, still kind of like my style of riffing to this day. Like you can hear it in Whips of Swinging. Like this is similar or even like Across the Sticks. I think I realized like this is the music, like this sounds more like the really what I want to do at this point. This has a catchy chorus, this has a sharp guitar riff and all that. I think the song overall is too long because like back then you didn't know about song structures and bridges and all that. But I heard or seen a DNA and it's something which I thought like, this is something I should hold on to, which like became to realize this is like what I did is the thing I want to like incorporate more in the future.
And on Victim of Hellfire, you guys also had Doomhammer from Old play a solo on that song?
Yeah, 2 solos.
2 solos. I'm pretty sure I know the answer to this, but you guys are first time on vinyl. So is that a big deal for you guys? You know, all of us are vinyl fans. So like to first see the Cruel Force logo and to first be on a record, what a thrill is that for you guys?
That was pretty fucking nuts. And we also had that, I, the whole cover, the whole get up of the record back then. I thought it was fucking great. We had that collage in there with like all our bodies in there and like all our faces, all our drum faces on that record, and the music as well, of course. Uh, all our lyrics printed on there. I don't know. It was just weird as shit.
Yeah, you have to think like I was 18, and this is impressive with like to have an achievement like this, like with 18. This
Are you showing
was
your parents like, "Look at this shit"?
yeah, and I've showed my mother, and all I had in mind was like in that collage there was like a vagina. I don't know, like Steph, the label guy said like, "Oh, let's put a vagina in there or something like." I think it was him. Sorry if I do him wrong. So I was about to deliver that to my mother, and I didn't mind or worry about the satanic stuff and whatever. Then it struck me, damn, there is this vagina, you know, like just like open, like sh- she wouldn't say something, but I felt uncomfortable, so I took like a Sharpie, you know, and crossed like crossed it out, just like the vagina. Everything else is in, like all the puking and whatever bullshit.
Put your hand over it when you're showing it to her. Like, "Hey, this is
I don't think she even realized. She never questioned why is there like Sharpie marks. Like I don't know, but I felt uncomfortable like to display like a woman's genital just like there. This is like you know like you shouldn't. That's not correct. You know.
Yeah, and when you look back,
Satanic stuff is okay.
obviously you guys matured now, but obviously that was many years ago, but when you look back on some of, like, the lyrical content back then, which we all do, 10 years ago, 15 years ago to what you guys write now, which is different, definitely a different thing going on, does it kinda just reflect it documents your ages, right? I mean, it's pretty much kinda like that's the point where you guys were at.
Yeah, I think Carnivore's lyrics have always been like good, you know, in the sense like when we look back. I think the only lyric which because he has to sing it and I feel bad for him is like leather and metal, like because like the lyrics, I mean they suck. Sorry, we don't want to change them. That's not the thing, you know. That's a time document.
Oh.
But I remembered even back then because like yeah, no, bow down, start to suck. Like that's like childish, like 16-year-old like bullshit lyrics. And a friend of mine or a friend of ours, Jeff, he told me so yeah, that song Leather and Metal is fucking cool song. But where's the leather and the metal in the lyrics? I just read some like horny shit, you know. This has nothing to do with leather and metal, you know. And then I realized even back then, like, and ever since when we sing it, that like I feel a bit sorry for Carnivore, but
Yeah.
but yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't. I had a couple of those as well. Like I remember, like the first line for Deathstrike, the first lyric I wrote was "Ugly bitch, see my foot kicking in your teeth." I mean, that's fucking Shakespeare. Uh,
But it fits.
I mean, would I write the same lyrics today? Probably not, but who cares? That was back then. It's now age. I would never change them.
No,
Oh,
yeah. It's documentation of what, you guys of the phases of the band, so,
it's just we
and
have a
then
good laugh nowadays, you know. Like we can take it with humor, and as said, like it just fitted like our youthful, like juvenile mindset, which is like important as well to grow up and like to look back. You know, I wouldn't fucking change a thing. You know, it is what it is.
and it's gonna be no worse than the old Kiss lyrics, which, I mean, hey, I still have my Kiss records, but, put your hand into my pocket and grab onto my rocket. I mean, it doesn't get much worse than that, so,
And this like English is their mother tongue. You know, like
yeah.
sometimes we weren't too certain about the words, and
Yeah. As we mentioned, Evil Warrior departs the band 2010, and Vomiter comes on in 2010. How does that whole transition work?
I mean, it was just too much shit all the time. It was always fucking every day was a situation with him when you went out with him. Then at some point at a show, it just boiled over and he got kicked out. Vomitor, of course, from Nocturnal. He was already a buddy of mine and of ours. And I just asked him out of the blue, like, would you wanna try or something? Because I remember I met him like like 2 years before at a festival, and I told him like, I have this band and maybe we can play together with Nocturnal at some point. And he's like, yeah, yeah, whatever. Because like probably everybody tells him that shit. And then I gave him our demo, and he actually was the one who gave the demo to the guy who organized our first show. So
Ah.
there was already a bit of a connection there. And yeah, he came on board, and it worked out fine for a while.
And it's that time period you guys start playing festivals too, right? Because you guys played, Thrashing Metal, Blitzkrieg Fest and stuff. And are you guys fan of the festivals, or, are you guys fans of more of, we always ask the bands this because, or more of the intimate shows?
I mean, as a visitor, well, I like both. I like both for both, for different reasons. Let's put it like that. I I always like the hot little tiny cellar show. That's always cool, but it's also cool to stand around with like 48,000 people in the middle of a field that scream the same lyrics. It gives a lot of, yeah, I don't know. It's a nice feeling you get. Let's put it like that. But it's different, just different things for different time periods. And I mean, the festivals we played back then, there was like that thrash metal Blitzkrieg thing. I think there was the one in France. It was more of like a long show. It started like at 3 in the afternoon or something, and
Sure.
1 in the afternoon. Like, and the other one was Heavy Metal Forces, I think. That was a 2-day festival, but it was also like 500 people maybe. Yeah.
How about you, Slaughter? Fests or, smaller gigs?
I prefer whatever, but in smaller capacities, I would say, because like if you have like a day fest or um, just a regular show with like 3, 4 opening bands, it's the same. What I don't like are the huge venues and the huge kind of things, And sometimes the festivals become too much of like a, how do you say, like people just go there and they miss one band and then they see the other one. It's just like it's not too much about the music anymore. I think the excitement, if everybody is coming to a concert with 2, 3 good opening bands and the headliner, the anticipation is like everybody's waiting for that headlining or co-headlining band, and everybody's into it. On the festival, I missed this band. Yeah, it doesn't matter. The next one is on. So the mentality is different, I would say. But I can
Yeah.
have fun as Carnivore on both, for different reasons.
And the first recording you guys did with Vomiter is, the Ancient Black Spirit 7-inch that comes out on Heavy Forces Records?
It's correct, yeah.
Did you guys record that just for that 7-inch, or was that recorded with another batch of songs?
We recorded that just for the 7-inch, I remember. Because we wanted to make, I don't know, like, why we decided because we wanted to have a single. Our plan was like, because we love the singles and we wanted to explore, like, to have a 7-inch and all that. So the goal was, let's make a single and record that song. But I don't know why we haven't recorded the album and released a single with that, because our plan was to record the same song, Ancient Black Spirit, twice, basically, just for the sake of having the single. But also, we plan to have it on the record too,
Oh.
which is unusual to have 2 different recordings, which happened with Across the Sticks now too. I don't know. We're maybe not the smartest.
You guys also did a cover of, which you actually played earlier in the show. You guys did a cover of Holocaust, Heavy Metal Mania. And you guys had guest vocals from Tyrannizer from Nocturnal. Like, whose idea was to do that track?
I don't know. What
Uh,
I think maybe we just wanted to have like something different once again, when everybody was doing like the Venom black metal cover, including us too. Um, we wanted to always show that like our influences are like the traditional heavy metal side, the speed metal side, because like in Germany, or maybe in the world, but I can just talk for the German scene, that like it's often seen that the black metal people or the kids into black metal, they don't care about Exciter, they don't care about these kind of bands, where while the old original OGs of the black metal scene or the second wave black metal scene have been into the first wave black metal, and the speed and thrash metal, it seems like in the scene nobody cared. And we wanted to show we're not black metal people from that scene. We are still like the heavy thrasher speed metal fans, a new wave of British heavy metal fans. So it was more like a message, I guess, from our side to just show where we're standing.
You guys are right back in the studio in 2010, Toxo Music again to record Under the Sign of the Moon album. Again, working with Wally, and yeah, man. So, what when you guys are going into that, are you guys just were you guys at that time period? Are you guys just writing constantly, jamming and writing? You know, you guys aren't playing again. You guys aren't playing a million shows.
I think it was just important, maybe for my part, like if I have the music, why wait? Why wait to make a record? Because like when I look back at the time schedules of the bands in the 80s, like Creator or whatever, they released like a record year after year while having tours in between. So it was a thing of possibilities. Since we, as you said, we don't play many shows or never played. Um, why waste potential and not just like use the moment, like the momentum, and release another album? Even to this day, I I think you can record an album and like write the songs, but I'm more the guy like to have that prefers a little pressure to get something done, because if you have too much time, then like you get sloppy and like slow and think, yeah, if I don't do it today, I can do it tomorrow. I don't like, that's not my mentality. I want to get things out of the way, so to say. And back then it was easy. We write the songs. We figured the solos in the studio. You didn't need too much time to book studio time in advance. Like nowadays, everything's booked and blocked and all that. And you need like PR, like a rollout plan and all these kind of things. We haven't had that. We recorded the thing. We got like after like 7 days of recording, we got the mix finished in our hands. We could like do the layout and get it to the pressing plants. And the pressing plants was like after 6 or 7, 8 weeks later, you've gotten a record. And then you could sell it right away. Like, so it was quicker to move.
That definitely makes sense. And the name of the album, Under the Sign of the Moon, is actually pays homage to Merciful Fate and the track Evil.
Correct.
And you guys, when you guys do that, are you guys bringing like when you for Wally, are you guys are bringing him old records that you kind of at that time period are like, hey, this is kind of what we want to catch on this record? And what are some of the records you guys are bringing Wally?
That was it.
Yeah,
Played.
I remember like, yeah, we had like Samael for the second album. I remember what we had for the first album very well. For the second album, we had like for the drums some Samael, and then he said like, yeah, but looked at us, but the drums are tuned completely different than your drums. And we're like, we didn't even know you can tune drums in pitch, which makes total sense. But like he's looked like, so what do you want me to do? Like the drums are completely different. It can never sound like this. Also, you need to play better like this. And okay, so obviously it doesn't sound like Samael.
And so you guys are doing that record. So that album definitely has more of like a black speed metal influence than the debut album. Would you say? Would you agree with that too on this? When we're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
about Under the Sign.
Unfortunately, yes.
And is that so? That recording lineup, that's you, Vomiter, Gigi, Alex, and Carnivore on that one. And are you guys, when you look back at that mix on that record, are you satisfied with that mix?
I know like the others are, I guess, like, so they never complained. We've been talking about it through the years on and off, and they said like, yeah, they're happy. I'm not, because the thing is, when I wrote the songs, I had something else in my head. And you can say, if you compare Ancient Black Spirit, the song, the 7-inch version to the album version, it's a difference of day and night. We didn't want to quite sound like the 7-inch, but we also didn't want to sound like that heavy and harsh and that distorted in the guitars. Um, it it just happened. It was like we so many decisions to take, and this is how we ended up. It was one mix, and that's it.
And did you guys have leftover songs from the first record that you guys brought onto this one, or did you guys kind of try to start over, like do all new scratch songs?
No leftover songs. We had some songs that were we rehearsed before the first album, but like since we didn't record them, we never played them again. There were songs like Satan's Vengeance. I remember it was like, I think two maybe 3 songs max we rehearsed, but we dropped them quite early. Well, we figured they're not as good maybe as the others, or something was missing, and we just like, okay, no, let's move on to something new.
When you guys are recording this, it's your second time in the studio, basically. Are you guys feeling more comfortable this time? And how long does it take to do the album?
Also 5-7 days, I think.
I honestly don't remember. I remember I went a bunch of times there because my voice kept breaking down, I had like a bad case of like asthma back then, and not right now. That's from the weekend because we had our release show.
Release party, yeah.
Yeah, right. We returned. Also, you've gotten your like wisdom teeth like taken out during that time.
Yeah,
So we
as
had
well.
to put it on halt because of that too. But yeah, I think the instrumentation was like maybe like 5 days, and then we went there like maybe once or twice for vocal fix-ups and.
And you guys also on this one, I think you also use it on the Ancient Black Spirit also artwork, and he also does the artwork on this. Josh McClare, the artist, how do you guys get in touch with him?
From Evil Avenger, from Daniel Nocturnal.
Yeah, he did like a best of thing for Nocturnal, I think, or something like Creation Possessed or something.
Yeah, like a best of black and white cover, which looked kind of cool. And I think we got the contact through Daniel, I'm certain. So we just like back then it was just like email contact, reaching out, hey, we're Crew Force, and he has heard about us at that time, which was cool. So he was totally into it. We took it from there.
You mentioned Daniel Avenger. He was on here a couple months ago, and in 2010 you started playing with them, Slaughter.
That's true. Yeah.
How do you get involved with them, and when is your first show with Slaughter? Because you did the 2011 EP with them, right? Well, you're on the 2011 EP, I should say.
Yeah. Like the thing is, I remember Vomitor played in Crew Force, and he reached out to me because there were talks apparently in Nocturnal that they want to have a second guitar player. They used to have like a woman for a short period of time as a second guitar player. So this was always like the dream lineup of like Nocturnal to have like a second guitar player. At least this was like, yeah, I was a big Nocturnal fan at the time of Arrival of the Carnivore, of that record and the EP before. And so, but I didn't want to actually commit to it first because first of all, they released like the album Violent Revenge, which I wasn't a fan of. Also the production, I never liked this album. Like Daniel knows it. Like sorry, Daniel, but but Niels talked me into it, and I thought like, yeah, maybe it's a good opportunity to also like support our Crew Force name a bit, also because I liked Niels very much. I still like him very much, so we got along well and it was fun to do, he talked me in a bit. But I knew this was like, I will not contribute to the songs, not to the songwriting. It was just like playing live more or less, I was happy. It was a good time. I liked that Daniel very much. It was a cool vibe. So, but I knew from the heart I was never committed musically to Nocturnal at any point.
I'm going to play another track from the Under the Sign of the Moon record. I'm going to play Black Witch of Doom. Anything you could tell us about this track?
Yeah, the first time we used like the harmonizer vocals, like the Slayer style, like like the harmony overdub.
I'm going to play that now. This is Cruel Force with Black Witch of Doom that came out on the Under the Sign of the Moon record, and we'll be back with the guys from the band after this track. and that was Cruel Force with Black Witch of Doom. And around this, when you guys are in the studio for Under the Sign, how is the chemistry? And are you guys like, how is the chemistry in the band? Because I know eventually, which we'll talk about Carnivore, that you leave the band, but how are you guys during that recording? Are you guys feeling it in the room that there might be some changes coming, or I guess Carnivore, you'd be the one we'd ask this to.
Like honestly, it's a bit of a blur. It's possible. It's possible. I mean, it was a fluctuating situation. Let's put it like that. We had some problems back then, but that.
And Slaughter, did you know something was going to, you don't have to say what we don't have to go into the issues and stuff, but did you feel like there's going to be a change?
No, actually, like in the studio or something like no, not really, because like I thought like the overall vibe was good in the band. Like there was, I mean, like we had like I would say normal, regular like issues or like different opinions about things, but there was at this time at least there was nothing like that that was standing against each other. Where decisions have to be made in the studio or something like that. Of course, like we're young and talking shit and like making fun and like mocking each other, but this was like I would say like at least from my point, like nothing's
Normal shit for
led
bands.
to like a disbanding or which showed first signs of like getting away from each other.
In Carnivore, how many shows because you guys did, 2011, you guys did the Thrashing Blitzkrieg Fest, which you mentioned, Live Evil Fest 2011, and you leave, right before the, what was it, the Thrash Attack in Belgium, correct?
Yeah, I left before that. I didn't do Live Evil either, and a Metal Forces thing I didn't do. Last 3 shows only.
So you didn't do those. So how fast? So I guess Slaughter, I'll ask you this. So you guys have Dennis, aka Hurricane, come in the band from Chapel of Doom, and he fills in for the shows. So Carnivore, you left a few days before the Belgium show. How did you guys rehearse? How did he know? Did Hurricane know the material prior, and how does he get involved and to step in?
He never knew the material. That's a problem.
Yeah, he was our label boss back then for the CDs at least. He released Under the Sign of the Moon CDs, and I don't remember who recommended him. It might have actually been me. I don't know. Remember, I gave him a bunch of the of like cliff notes for the lyrics, so he could like get all the stuff that isn't in the lyrics, like little things I say here and there or something like that. But he never bothered to learn. So
And how's for Slaughter for you? How were those shows with? Was it stressful for you, or you guys did a few shows? Like, how was that experience for you at that time period?
It's been a pain in the ass. Like it's fucking like it was. I was talking funnily like with Vomiter just like the other day about that, because like at the release party, and there was Oscar from the singer of Old Reaper, and also from Nocturnal for a short while, and he's been there. And Niels told me, like Vomiter told me, that when Carnivore left the band, there was like I think 2-3 days before the show in Belgium, and we didn't want to cancel that obviously, so we had to like take decision quickly. Like either we find a substitute for him, or we have to cancel. And since we didn't want to cancel, just for the sake of not canceling it, we reached out to a couple of singers, and this was also Reaper. We reached out, and he was like, "No, I don't want to play because like you suck," like this basically. And he didn't say it, but like it was clearly that he was like didn't want to be involved with us because we suck. So, and so it was like a Hurricane. He'd been asked, and he was never a choice of mine because he has a complete different vocal. He has that black metal, like shrieky kind of vocal, and also like on a personal level, we weren't friends. It was okay, we mates kind of, at the time. It was fun, but yeah. So he agreed like on short notice that he plays in Belgium. So he really put effort into like 3 days to study the songs because he knew on music, but it's a difference to know the songs when you put it on a record and you can summon like whistle to it, or know it by heart. So I sang a couple of songs live, like 3-4 songs I sang and played guitar, which must have been horrible. And he did the rest, which was also horrible. But yeah, we
In
pulled it
Carnivore,
off.
did you see any of this? Were you at any of these shows, or how did that feel to see someone else doing the band that you had been with? From the start. Did that bother you at all? Or you're just doing your own thing at that time.
well, I mean, I like I said, I was in contact with him. It's not like I hated him or anything.
Yeah, you set it up.
Um, and I was rooting for him for like the first couple of shows, and I thought like the footage I saw of like the thrash attack thing, I thought like fair play, 3 days notice, this is fine. Then like the next show was like, what was it? I think the Live Evil one, and I saw
Yeah.
footage from there, and I'm like, this is 2 months later, and he still haven't learned the lyrics. And then it's like 3 months later for the next show, and he still haven't learned the lyrics. The fuck, man. And that one kind of pissed me off. The last one. The other two didn't bother me that much, but that one kind of pissed me off. I don't know.
After the band basically stops for a bunch of years, you guys had only done what 10 to 12 shows the first incantation of the band, right?
Maximum, yes.
Yeah.
And is that something for you guys? Is it's quality over quantity?
I mean, obviously, it wasn't quality in the first first incarnation of the band, but I'd say we all like we enjoy playing live. You know, like the stuff we've done. Like it's like the last week, and this was pretty like amazing. You know, like to get the feedback, the reception. Everybody's happy. The band is happy. The people, the fans, the friends are happy. But I think we all agree that sometimes less is more. Even me as an Ingve fan has to agree on that. Sometimes less can be more.
I think what GG Alex moves when you guys are ending, people are moving from the band too out of the area. Is that one of the problems you guys are? Because you guys, I've read that you guys still stayed friends. Everyone was still cool for that time period. You guys had actually spoke, hey, maybe we'll do this again. But you know,
Yeah, we had like 4 months or something of not talking to each other, and that was it. Other than that, we basically split up quickly, and then yeah, just kind of stayed buddies. Of course, we didn't hang out as much anymore. It's just what happens. Like you said, people move away. I moved away for a couple of years. Kevin Slaughter did a lot of his Maiden traveling, and also formed another band, Sphinx, which was what I heard rather time consuming. And yeah, I don't know. I did some things, roamed around everywhere, got drunk everywhere, and yeah, recorded some smaller records.
yeah.
And
What's the story with Witches Sabbath, which is with Avenger at that time?
Uh, the, this is also like something I'm a bit annoyed about it, to be honest. The thing is, um, I'm a fan of like the South American kind of scene. Maybe you can see it in the background, even like
Yeah.
the records and all that. So I was talking to Daniel because like I was still like not technically able to record. I never used a DAW or something like that to record in the computer and all that stuff. The only thing I didn't know how to punch in, so I always tracked on tape and played like one takes or like as many takes, just like as a one take, you know. And so I planned to do some songs in a South American kind of way, like a mixture of In the Sign of Evil meets Volcano and kind of stuff. So, and Daniel was also into that, and but my I never wanted to release it. So we agreed. Okay, we do the songs. I wrote the songs. I did the vocals. We did the lyrics together. And then like Daniel said, like, okay, the songs are quite cool, fun, like not good, but like cool. So he wants to release it, and I was like, please, okay, we can do the release, but just never put any names on the record. And I think on that 7-inch there's not even a name, but he put it on Metal Archives
The
and all
Evil
the
Conspiracy
info,
7-inch.
and yeah, and like and everybody's like talking about it. But was something I just did for myself, just out of fun. But I don't think it's good enough to like show. So that's like I'm a bit annoyed by the fact that people
That it's
can
out
listen to
there.
it because if I would have known this would have been released, I would have put more effort into it to make it like a bit more proper bad metal. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it's not embarrassing. I just like want to share my honest feelings about like these kind of things. People can know about it. You know, this is how I feel about it. It's nothing to be ashamed of. Like, and it's not that in that sense. It's just like once again, like if you want to do something with the intention to not release it, and then it's released, and then like if I would have known that, it would have been a bit different, so to say. You know,
Yeah, because it got a 7-inch release out. Does Iron Bonehead put that out for you guys?
right? Nameless like that. So
Right.
I was like, okay, I don't want to be involved. You know.
And we just had on episode, I think it was 134, we had Jan and Marco on from Witching Hour, and you
Right.
started jamming with them live too. You know, how did that? Obviously, you guys have had relationships that you guys recorded off their 4-track back in the day, the demo and stuff. But yeah, how did you get involved with them?
So like they were basically like you have to imagine like I came from a small village like with people like the population was 500 people maybe in that village, you know, like no internet, no cell phone connection because it was just like seriously there was no connection, no service. So in 2006 I first had internet access very slow, and so I reached out like to some like thrash metal kind of sites, you know. And this was the first contact I made online with the Witching Hour guys. They had that band Witching Hour. The name was cool, you know. They had all the bio about the people, the picture, favorite bands like Slayer and Black Sabbath, and I felt so connected because this is like the same music I loved, you know, all that stuff. And so we got in contact ever since. This is like one of the first people I've ever met in the scene online, so to say. So we had always been in a good contact. So their drummer left, and Sasha, the guitar player, back then the guitar player, he moved to the drums. And so they had like another guitar player coming in, a second guitar player, because they've always been a second two guitar player lineup. And we've been always in good contact. And so the other, I think Phil was his name, he left too, so they asked me if I would like to help out in a live scenario. And I told them I don't want to commit to this because I think this was just after Nocturnal when I decided I never want to play anyone else's music. I mean, I can do it like to help out for like a couple of shows, but I don't want to commit and I don't want to feel the pressure. And you have to do this because if you're not fully committed, it's not also fun, you know. And people um, yeah, they expect you to be like 100% committed, and if you're not, that's not working. So I told them, okay, if you find another guitar player to share that like, so okay, I can do some live shows, and the other guitar player can do another a few live shows, then I will commit for a couple of shows. This is how it happened. So basically, I never left the live position, but they sensed that this wasn't my thing. So yeah.
And you've appeared on some of the stuff, right? Because you did some solos on the 2018 and Silent Grief Shadows, the Passing Moon record.
That's true, yeah. Like I contributed one guitar solo.
And with guitar, eventually, so when you guys split up, with the Cruel Force we're speaking about now again, you took 3 years off of playing guitar?
This was later. So as said before, when we disbanded, we formed or I formed with other people's things, and I still was playing guitar and all that. And I think it may be like in 2017, 18, we broke up in 2017. And then at that point, I was fed up and I like stopped playing the guitar. Like it just like put it inside. And I was done with playing my own music because it didn't work out the way I wanted. And I was just happy to be a fan, a listener, and just appreciate records, you know, better than to write songs.
And you like we had mentioned earlier too, you guys are, you know, eventually you guys are talking, "Hey, maybe one day we'll get back together again," and stuff, and then you started getting inspired again. Is that and then you get a hold of, GG Alex and Carnivore, and then you guys did get a hold of Vomiter too, but he didn't come along.
Exactly, like accidentally, like I took the guitar. I can't even say what made me pick up the guitar, and I played some riffs, and I felt like, wow, this is cool. Like my playing was very bad, you know, very stiff, very like not good, but the riffs were like very inspiring, and I thought, wow, I might be onto something. And yeah, like so the first song, the riffs came together, and I was like, maybe now or never, because this could be like some good stuff. So I felt like struck by inspiration, and then I reached out, and we reached out to Vomiter, of course, first because this was the last lineup. I mean, we knew he had moved on kind of musically because he's more into the black and death kind of stuff and into that modern black metal, modern death metal stuff. Not modern, but like the new incarnation of that ultra evil black death stuff. But of course, out of respect, we wanted to ask him, and he said like, no, he's not up for it. He now always says like, yeah, but why didn't you ask me? It was like, we asked you, but he
We
didn't
have
realize.
the messages. I asked.
What is it?
I have the messages. I asked him. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah, like
because
we
he
asked.
told me like, "You never asked me," and I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah."
Yeah, Yeah, now he's kind of crying, like in a funny way, like just humorous, we just make fun. Like, yeah, I would have wanted to play there, but yeah, but Spider, he's the best bass player you could have ever had, like in the band. He agrees on that, from the looks, from the feel, from the whole attitude. So we're just making fun here.
Yeah, how do you, Spider was obviously you guys knew him for a while, right? But how does he become part of the band? Is it an easy decision for you guys?
He didn't play the bass. He didn't play the bass. He did do nothing. And I was always, because I was hanging out with him since the Sphinx days with Alex. So Alex and I knew him, and then Carnivore knew him too because he was always hanging around, like with us all the time. And I was like, he's from Mannheim. So what's the obvious thing would be like to have somebody we call a friend, um, who could play bass in our band. But the problem is he doesn't play an instrument. So we made him play the bass. We forced him to. We're
He probably
threatening
thanks
him.
you. Probably thanks you now. I mean, when is the first time you guys get in a room and actually jam after all that time off, all those years?
2022? Late 2022? I'm not quite sure. Must have been after like the whole Corona shit. I think it was like late 22, but I'm not 100% anymore. Yeah.
Did you guys vibe right away?
Fido was there just as a buddy helping us set up and shit, like, and taking pictures as well. So he was there for the first rehearsal as well.
And you guys put out that. So Across the Sticks, is that the first song you guys had written together during the reformation that you guys put out on this 7-inch?
Yeah. It was this was the song which, like, the riffs, they came together, which like inspired me to like reach out to everyone and say like, man, like we've been talking about this occasionally a couple of times. We met at Alex's place like a couple of years before, I think, or something like that. Had some beers, like sleepover kind of thing, just getting drunk, listening to music and talking about it. And then when we left, nothing happened.
That happened like twice or something.
Yeah.
I was at your place as well once.
Yeah.
For exact reason. Yeah.
So this was, but like this now I had like not only now we haven't had not only the will to do it, but also like the riffs, which really came from the heart to like inspire one to say like, okay, I feel good about this. We need to do this. I need to force this. So like this shouldn't be just a blah blah, an empty talk, but like, okay, now let's fucking look for a rehearsal room and all that. So yeah.
And, we talked about Slaughter on Sign of the Moon. There was definitely more of that speed black metal feel. But now, when you guys are coming back now, there's definitely more of that classic rock influence, I would say, coming into the band.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And for the list, people who are fans of the band prior, did you guys get any shit for that, or was it kind of like a natural progression for the, not that you guys care, obviously, what people thinking, but did you notice at first it's like, wait, what's going on here is a little bit of a change, a pullback, maybe?
I mean, to this day, some people are still pissed off, like they say like, you don't like sound evil enough anymore or something like that. But to be honest, like when you look at our history and like when you listen to songs like again with Victim of Hellfire or Queen of Heresy to what we do now musically, we are better musicians, we became better, there's a better production, but with identity wise, it's pretty similar to what we have done. What has changed are the vocals, and the vocals would have sounded like this most likely if we would have known that Carnivore was able to pull this off early, because like we've been talking back then, like, okay, how do you sing? You didn't know, so we just took it from there with like, now we know what we want to do. If people say like this doesn't sound like Cruel Force, well, then they should clean their ears and listen to the old stuff again. We've been doing the Pile Driver cover and all the speed metal stuff from day one in our lives. We were greeting Razor on the first demo and all these kind of stuff. So this is nothing new. This is not an identity change. This is just like now we know how to do what we actually want to do,
And Carnivore, for you, with the band back going again and stuff, what are you thinking at that time period? Are you excited to have the guys back and, be back in the room with Slaughter and them?
Yeah, for sure. Like I remember, like, I mean, there was I had like a couple of projects before that. Like I had Megathérion going, which was before Corona.
Yeah, what are some of the stuff you're doing in between that period, with your time off from Cruel Force?
Well, I had one project with Evil Avenger as well. Schwein. Did like we recorded like one EP, which didn't end up too great, but whatever. Thought the lyrics were pretty good, and the songs weren't bad either, but it was just put together way too quick. That's a lot of the times bit of a problem with Daniel. As much as I love him, it gets put together very quickly and churned the fuck out. And love the guy. Whatever. We did that, and then I also had a death metal project with him, but I don't remember when we did that. I think that was during Corona actually, or right before that. Sacrifixion was released on Hell's Headbangers. And also I wrote a bunch of lyrics for Front Beast, for Nocturnal Witch. I don't remember what else. Yeah, and then I had Megathérion with which I still do have on the side, with Aethon from Euronymous. And yeah, I moved to his area back then. It was right around like maybe 2 years before Corona started happening. And yeah, we just basically did some shows together, like a couple of good ones. And then we started writing an album. Then Corona happened. Then we kicked out our drummer. It was all getting like, ugh, getting kind of sloppy and shit. And then this whole thing came up again with Slaughter. And I remember like I was talking to Azon back then about it. He's like, yeah, sure, you should for sure fucking do this. Like he was always more than happy to be on the back or stand to the side when it came to Cruel Force, because he knew it was my main thing, my main passion, put it like that. And yeah, and as I said before, that Corona happened, like all of the shows, it just kind of started getting back again. And I had a very demanding job back then. I was away a lot of the times, and I couldn't go to a lot of things. I was at work all the time and just getting pissed off and pissed off and pissed off. And so this whole thing was always a lot of pressure relief for me. All this fucking screaming and yelling. And so, so I was very happy to have that back in my life again and have those guys back again. I mean, like, I don't know when you started talking, but we met like when we were like teenagers. I met like BG Alex when he was 15. He was my, I don't know. Slaughter was like 1 year older. It's like just nice getting the band back together. Let's put that.
Yeah, and what is the when you guys do get back in that room together, you guys start working on material for the next record, which is Dawn of the Axe. You know, are you guys feeling recharged? Can you guys? Is there like a new energy in the band?
I would say so. I mean, like, for me, it was a bit difficult at first with the vocal change. I have to admit, I needed a lot of reassuring back then, because, like, I started singing the songs like I sang on Under the Side of the Moon, basically, and it just didn't sound right, because we just wanted to have it a bit more pure speed metalish with the more death metalish kind of vocals. It just didn't sound right, and yeah, but it turned out well pretty quickly. Let's put it like that.
And I think August 19th, 2022, you guys announced that you guys signed a deal with Shadow Kingdom Records, which we spoke about Slaughter earlier in the show. And then you guys also get reissues for 2010's The Rise of Satanic Might on 12-inch CD and tape, and the same deal with Under the Sign of the Moon. You know, are you guys so that material has been reissued several times. Are you guys still surprised on the demand for the older records? Probably not, since you guys are old metal fans. You know how it works, probably, but
I would say so. Like, still there's a demand for the first two records still, but I see it now changing. Not that the demand is like getting less. It's just the demand for the new music is overshadowing like the old stuff, I would say. So like we're at the point in the band where we became the name Cruel Force has been known for like that early black metal kind of stuff and thrash metal kind of stuff, the 80s style. Now people know us for the speed thrash metal we're playing, and they're surprised that we sounded different in our like first time. So the demand for the music we do now is has gotten way bigger, I'd say.
September 11th, 2022, you guys wrap up the recording of the third Cruel Force record, Dawn of the Axe, which has 9 tracks on it. And this one's recorded at Hellforge in Essen.
True, yes.
So you got, so how'd you guys go to that, get involved with that studio? And for this also, I had read that you guys did a lot of the pre-production yourself to kind of save some time in the studio.
No. Actually, like that, there was a demand by the producer, recording engineer, Marco Blinkman, who's the guy, like the guy behind Hellforge Studio, and he was working with a lot of like newer bands, and he made a name pretty quickly because he was doing like lots of that automation vocal effects, which is his like, how do you say it? Like his trademark kind of thing. You hear it in many bands. That sounds all a bit like similar, his work, and we were impressed by that. That actually somebody does that today, because like as we said with Valley, there was no automation. There was like, okay, I remember there was one part where we needed more reverb just for a short part on the guitar, and he was using this analog outboard gear and said like, oh, he doesn't have a free patch bay, whatever. So we had to do it like just in real time, like taking the patch cable and doing these kind of things, and while like transferring it to the master tapes. Like that's what the old school people have done most likely. And Marco came and like he had like, okay, this part has this time delay and this effect, and like we were, wow, this is so cool. We want to work with somebody like that, who is that creative, who makes something special of a record. This is how we got like in contact with him. We reached out to him for that kind of stuff because we didn't know him before.
On this, are you guys paying a lot more attention to the details of the record that you had in the past?
Oh yeah, because like now, now we realized, or at least I realized, what actually is possible. Whatever I was like wishing seemed to be so far away and impossible to do. And then I see like, wow, this is actually what, if you have like an idea for something, you can pull that off. You can put on 1,000 ideas into one song, similar, subtle, like subtle things. So this made me even think that I can do this kind of stuff. I can request this stuff. I can like try to put it off. And yeah, to come back to the pre-production, Marcus said like, okay, before you enter a studio, the bands need to have a pre-production. That means everybody has to have, like, we had to record every song before to show him that we can play the songs, that we're familiar with the track, with the timing, with the speed. And then we recorded everything again, obviously from scratch in a studio. So there was nothing pre-recorded. This was just like our demo tapes, basically, before we entered the studio.
And Carnivore, for you, man, how was the vocal sessions for you? Well, obviously, there's a vocal change, like you mentioned earlier. Like, recording, were you comfortable at the end of it, or you like, how was the experience for you? And how long did you spend doing the vocals on this record?
I think we actually we actually did all of the vocals. I remember like because we started out and we were like, yeah. I started out like I always do, like, yeah, give me a fucking beer. Like back then I used to smoke a lot as well. And I smoking a cigarette, having a beer, like, yeah, let's do this shit. And went in there and did my best thing for like Death Ride Sky, and everyone was like, yeah, this is awesome. And I did like 2 takes and my voice cracked immediately. and and we had like this whole recording session booked, and like all I did for like a week was drink ginger tea and eat painkillers and shit to have some kind of voice back, but it just didn't sound right. So we just scrapped the whole thing and we completely redid it. Yeah.
I'm
So
gonna
yeah, it was demanding. It was definitely a lot more demanding than back then, because back in the old days it was like you do a take, you look at Wally, he goes like, "Huh," and you go like, "Huh," and as
Yeah.
long as you didn't completely fuck up the lyrics or something, you just kept it the way it was. And then for this album, and for the next one for Haneda as well, it's like there's no song that we record that's under 1.5 hours of vocals. Period. There's nothing under there's nothing less than 1.5 hours. And when you do like a bunch of songs, like I did the whole first album in 1.5 hours, I think. So
Damn.
that's a bit of a change that you have to adjust to, that you can't just party all the time, at least not in the way that we did back then.
And I'm gonna
Yeah.
play a track from that record. I'm gonna play "At the Dawn of the Axe." Is this the first single for that record, right? You guys put out?
Yeah, if you don't count Across the Sticks, then yes.
Yep, so yeah, Cross the Sticks is the first song you guys wrote back, and then this one, and then At the Dawn of the Axe. And also before I play that, you guys start working with is it Megan LeMay or is it Megan LeMay?
We're not certain. Sorry,
Guess-
because her name is like Mae, not M.
yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
Yeah.
we call her often like Megan, but we will find out. She's coming to visit us in 2 weeks. She's gonna be a visitor. Like she stays with us like over a week. So I'm gonna ask her.
There you go. So yeah, so the artwork is done by Megan LeMay, Dawn of the Axe, and she starts working with you guys at that time period. How do you guys get involved with her? Because she's also a tattoo artist in Massachusetts, I believe.
Yeah, she got like Iron Hand Tattoo Studio. And greetings to her, by the way. She's a fantastic person. I love working with her. She's like such an angel to us, like to the band. And she's wow, her art is just what we wished we could have. She's like our Derek Riggs, so to say. And the thing is, when we reformed the band, we were agreeing that we don't want to carry on the old logo because we actually never liked it. Um, because it happened by mistake or like by an accident too, so to say. So I was like looking through the internet and I've seen, yeah, like I found her, and she's done because she's never done like a colored album artwork, or like at least not to my knowledge. I've seen she's done some pencil, stencil, like black and white kind of stuff, ink, and I thought maybe she can do some cool logos, which she came up with some first drafts, and it looked amazing. So okay, a logo is different to the album artwork, and it was kind of a risk because we weren't. She said like, okay, she's never done an airbrushed artwork and all these kind of things. So, but there was something in me that told me like, okay, we should risk it because like time wise, if it's not what we were looking for, then we would have been fucked time wise, for the record because everything's on a tight schedule, obviously. Um, but there was something about her. I was like, I believed in her, so to say, and she like wow, like the results speak for itself. We couldn't have been happier. So we found her, like the angel we've been looking for, um, and she's done better than we could have ever asked for and imagined. Like this was crazy, like, and ever since we love working with her, and she's also a super heavy metal maniac, just like us. She listens to the same bands. Has the same background. She has super much knowledge, records, and she's like working her ass off like in the tattoo studio. Then she comes home like doing the artworks, and her boyfriend is also like a Cruel Force fan. So because I was like, I'm sorry, we demand so much time consuming stuff, and she said, like, no, this is her like exit of the regular life to just like get her mind free, and the boyfriend's supporting it. So like, yeah, it's amazing.
And
Yeah, great.
she's done the singles for you guys and has done a bunch of artwork now since then. Who did the original logo for you guys on the first demo? The one you guys started using early on?
On the demo, it was a guy called Breidi. He used to do all the logos back then. He did the original Witching Hour logo. What else did he do? Infernal Death.
Maybe Ketzer logo, Infernal Death.
I think Ketzer did their own logo actually.
Okay.
But I remember like Division Speed, I think.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. Like he was the guy for logos back then, basically.
If you need a logo, call Breit. That's basically it. And all the logos look cool except ours.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm gonna play some Cool Force now. I'm gonna play At the Dawn of the Axe. Which you guys did a video for this too, and me and Ed were actually talking about the videos before you guys came on today. Where'd you guys shoot those at? Was it those videos were at pretty kind of the same place, the same venue?
The same venue. It's just like
Same
around
day?
like yeah, like in the same weekend, so to say. Our idea was like, like when you look at AC/DC during the Back in Black time, they had just like the same stage, same kind of thing, like no fancy video. We're not like good like actors or whatever. We just want to like show the people what we look like if we play live. That's all. Like because people say like they make the same video overall. Over and over. Yes, we do, but we don't want to make like a video where you see like vampires and gothic shit and bullshit and acting, bad acting. We would just want to showcase martials and heavy metal, and screaming guitars. That's what we do.
This is I'm gonna play some Crow Force here. This is At the Dawn of the Axe from Dawn of the Axe that came out on Shadow Kingdom Records in 2023, and we'll be back with Carnivore and Slaughter from the band after this track on the Tampa Morgue. And that was Cruel Force with At the Dawn of the Axe. And you know, we mentioned the videos you guys have done. And then also Cruel Force, is this the first show? Because I could be wrong about this. The first show you guys play is Night of the Possessed Festival in 2023 in honor of the bass player Sick of Hellish Crossfire.
Exactly. I remember back then I always wanted to play live, but there was a couple of different opinions about that. Let's put it like that. But then Sick died, and yeah, he was an old buddy of ours, and the guys from Hellish Crossfire said they were putting this festival together and asked us if we wanted to do it, and there was zero discussion. Then we would definitely do it because it was for Sick, and yeah.
And that was what Disaster played that, Die Hard,
Yeah, like basically
Nocturnal.
everyone in the German underground, because everyone knew the guy and loved the guy. If you ever met him, you would have loved him too.
He played with Profanation also at one time.
I'm not sure. I don't know. I
He
think that
did.
there's something ringing my bell in it. There was a connection maybe, but I got like this. I don't know.
And he was like an old school German thrasher from like back in the day. Like I think he went to like the Metallica Venom tour.
Yeah, with Venom.
Oh, the famous poster.
Yeah.
Like
He's seen
shit
all
like
the like he's seen Living Death and like Darkness and all the original, the OG German thrash bands, and like he never liked when Maiden swapped the singers. He hated Maiden, you know. He hated Manowar because he was like the guy when thrash came out. It was just like trash. Everything else went to like spandex and bullshit. And he loved, like, you know, he hated Kiss and all that. When somebody played Kiss in the rehearsal room, he just left and was like insulted. Put on some Motorhead or put on some Saxon, you know, some gritty, some edgy, like still heavy hard rockin' music, but not this poser shit. And he was like that.
At that time period, you guys, no, this is when you guys start being more active live, right? Because you guys are playing, obviously the Night of the Possessed, which we mentioned. You guys are playing Anthems of Steel, Fest 6 in France with Destruction, Benefiction, Festival of Grief. You guys are also playing in Poland, Candlebrom in Mexico. How was that? How was the Mexico trip for you guys?
Bad.
boy, if it was bad, I had fun. Nah, but I mean, for me, it was a very, uh, very cool experience. The whole trip there, but the whole thing with him was like a fucking nightmare because he just wrote me like I took a later plane than him, and I was still at work, and I got this message like, "Yeah, I'm on the plane back," and I'm like, "Ha, yeah, fuck you," and like just just put it away. And like a couple of messages later, like, "Shit, he's really on the way back. The fuck is that?" And yeah, then we just went into emergency mode. I don't know. We talked to the organizer, and he's like, "I mean, you're still gonna come, right?" And I had a whole vacation planned around with my at that time girlfriend, and we said like, "Yeah, we're definitely coming." And even if I just go on stage and say, "Sorry, guys, we can't play," but then he managed to find a guitar player. I wrote the guy from Phantom, JC, and
Oh yeah,
Slaughter
we had him on here.
Moy from Hard Rocker, and we got a rehearsal room there organized by the festival organizers, and we rehearsed once and played the show, and it was pretty fucking cool.
I actually know Carnivore. We had JC on here, and I remember we actually had this conversation. Okay, yeah, yeah. We talked about this. That was like a big thrill to him actually playing with you guys.
Yeah, like he literally sent me like a friend request one day early on Instagram, and that's how I remembered. Like I know a Mexican guy now. I can ask that Mexican guy.
Yeah, we had him on here.
But it was a pain in the ass because the whole experience should have been with all of us and not just uh,
Yeah, it's
no, it was fucking pain in the ass, and I hated that he wasn't there. It's not
have you guys played the States?
No.
States.
Is that something that interests you guys? I mean, is that something that is on the radar? Or you guys kind of whatever happens, happens?
Like not for now. Not for now. Like I think like we stick to Europe mainly, or like I mean, if Japan, like my wish would be to play in Japan actually, one day, or like we done the Brazil stuff. But since we don't like to tour much, and also like if you would play the US, you know, like this with the visa stuff, and
Yeah, right now it's all fucked up.
it's not only right now, but it's like so expensive, and like as a band, it's very tough to tour the US. I would say that's
You mentioned Brazil. That was like 2012, 2025. You guys played there. How was that experience playing over in South America?
cool. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I mean, like the thing is, it could have been better because there like things were fucked up in the beginning. So there was like this the promoter, the guy who pulls off the festival. He had like another guy who's like scouting the bands or taking care of the bands. Doing all the contracts and doing the money stuff. And so we were promised like the money. We agreed everything. There were contracts written and like signed and all that. We were like, okay, man, like this is even like some professional stuff happening. So we agreed, okay, we get paid that amount of money, and that day, well, the day came, the money never arrived. So we were like, okay. The guy said like, okay, like in 2 months and blah blah. So this happened a couple of times. Then the guys of Sabaton reached out to us. Hey, have you ever got your money? It was like, no, but we agreed like next month. So then we realized the guy who was doing the money business with us, he ran away with the money for all the bands.
Oh,
And the
shit.
promoter, the original promoter, the organizer, he didn't even know, like, because he paid them like the 10,000s of euros for all the bands and flights and all bullshit. And he thought all the bands have been paid, Metal Lucifer and everyone was paid, but none of the bands were paid. So I was like reaching out to the original, to the organizer, and said like, hey, when can we expect the money? And he said like, what do you mean? When can we expect the money? Don't you have it? I was like, no, you were supposed to have it like 5 months ago. So the guy ran away with the money, and they had like the big lawsuit or whatever. I don't know if they had actually like lawsuit, but he ran away with so much money. And he still wanted to make it happen. So he was bankrupt, basically. He played with open cards. He wanted to have Massacre and playing there too, but he couldn't afford Massacre anymore because of the incident that happened. So yeah, this overshadowed everything. So he had to increase the ticket prices a lot. And so we had to move from a bigger venue to a smaller venue because people couldn't simply afford the tickets anymore. So this was really bad because like we felt, I don't know how much was a ticket there, maybe like 50 euro, 40 euro, which is
Yeah,
like the equivalent in dollar basically. And for a show of like four bands, like that size, that's way too expensive for a South American country. Even for Germany, nobody would go there. So we felt bad for the fans to actually pay that price. Um, yeah, this left a bad taste a bit, but yeah.
Yeah, it's goddamn. You guys played Sweden also with Absu, and that brings us to, I guess it was December 25th. You guys announced that you guys would be putting out the fourth album, Haneda, that came out on March 27th on Shadow Kingdom Records, 9 tracks. So yeah, man. First of all, it was recorded at 2 studios. This record, am I correct?
Yeah, basically in three.
You worked again in the same studio you had worked at prior on the last record, but where else did you guys work at on this? Because you did Hellforge, right? And then Parchment Studios.
Yeah, that's like the fantasy studio for a rehearsal room.
Ah, you got
Like
one of those, yes.
to do some overdub guitars. The Parchment is a song by Maiden, so we thought like that's kind of funny, or at least nobody thought that's funny, just me thought that's funny. But we recorded the drums. We wanted to have like because since Hellforge Studio is a more like small studio, and we wanted to have like the drums in a big studio. We wanted to have that big, natural, beefy drum sound, and so we were looking for a huge recording room. That's why we like recorded the drums at Bauer Studios, which is like the oldest and biggest studio in Germany to this day.
yeah. It's usually known for like jazz bands and like German folk music, brass bands, stuff like that. Where they get because they have they have a giant ceiling that's very high, and you can get a lot of sound in there.
Yeah, you get like the orchestral pieces. You get the big bands. With like 40 people in the room, and yeah, it sounded just big enough for our drums.
You guys had that bastard that. Was this set up through you guys? Because I know High Roller Records usually sends their bands through there, but you guys went through Temple of Disharmony with Patrick Angle. Was that you guys that did that, or?
Like he's a common name, like we know him for many years. Also, we never worked with him somehow because we never like to. We always, which is like actually a bit like how they say like a paradox. We always think if we master our records, it sounds too good. we still want to have like that bad sound, you know. And since the recording and the mixing, we had so many mix downs this time. None of us was like neutral anymore, so we were all biased. So we had to bring in like another mastering engineer just to make the right decisions, because we agreed so nobody can take a decision anymore, which helps.
And how long did this? How many days did you guys spend in the studio on this one?
Oh, one too many. This was, I think the overall recording process was like maybe like 2 weeks or like 10 days or like 12 days, just recording, getting the vocals and the instrumentation down. And then like later, and no, 10 days, just everything except the drums. The drums were also like 4 or 5 days. So you can say like it took just a month to get it recorded.
And the writing process of this one was so first of all, lyrics. Are you guys both splitting the lyrics, or is Carnivore doing? Are you doing more of the lyrics, Carnivore? Or is it kind of like down the middle?
But this one, it was more Slaughter's end. I only did 2 lyrics for this record. It was just a time thing. It's just for this time around. I just couldn't like deliver. I had too much stuff in my personal life going on. So yeah, I only contributed 2 songs for that one.
Slaughter, are you a fan of writing lyrics?
No.
Hey, it's honest.
No, like I have to say, like to me, the lyrics are not as important as the music. I'm yeah, honest about it. I think first of all, the most important is the songs, the atmosphere, and to capture like one's like imagination, you know, with the music, and then the lyrics have to fit. They have to fit the music. I think, you know, like for example, when we write about mythical like sounds and all these kind of things, there is no point to sing about like political things. So if a singer wants to express in his lyrics in a like a different view, you know, that's not matching. So everybody has to be on the same wavelength, you know. That's why like Carnivore and I talk often, and since we write the lyrics to the songs and not the music to the lyrics, so we have to be on the same level, which happens like to be very like good, you know. We are like working very well on that because we share the same views and the same mentality about the things, you know. If that wouldn't be the case, there would be lots of like yeah, issues and like yeah, talking about like okay, let's change like the topics of the lyrics, but okay, then we have to change the music, you know.
And music-wise, are you basically demoing most of this music, of writing it and then handing it over to the guys? And
Yeah, like it's I do most of the stuff at home, you know, like the riffs and like build the demos and all that, and then we work it out and we take it from there in the rehearsal rooms. Okay, like let's change here this part to that, you know, like so everybody's committed like in the song structures, and like everybody should voice the opinions about the riffs and all that. That's very important. But the soul writing itself, that's what I do at home.
and on this record, of just basically as a listener, right? I would say this picks up off where Dawn of the Axe left. Would you
Yeah,
agree with that?
yeah.
And there's some things I want. I mean, maybe I'm crazy here, but I'm pretty sure. So some of the influences I hear on this record. So maybe again, I know you guys did 3 videos for it. One was "Whips a Swingin'." Am I crazy? But is there like a "Wake Up Dead" vibe on that song for some of that? Is that? I mean, is it obvious? Or am I crazy? But
I mean, like we've been talking about this. If you compare the riffs like itself, it's like nothing similar. I think it's just like the heartbeat down to go to that, like from the fast
yes,
to that, which is like
the head bob.
resemblance to that. I wouldn't say like, because like I read it so much and I compared. Actually, I sat down and compared like the songs. Am I crazy now? Like did I like copy that? You know, and like riff wise, it's nothing similar. But I see the beat, you know, like that going. That's totally like that's similar kind of vibe, I would say, you know?
Yeah, the head bob. It's like kind of when I heard it, I was like, I couldn't know if I was wrong, but I also heard again Black Magic. Right? Is that part of the? Because I think we're going to end this with the title track. Is that kind of a? Is there kind of a nod of the head to Slayer in that?
I get like like the opening lines to like Haneda is like a cruel night,
Cool night,
a
a force
night,
of
you know,
night.
like
Yeah.
that's kind of like a reference, obviously, to Slayer. We played there. It's like, of course, if you have like a drum beat and the bass, doom, doom,
Yeah.
doom, and you play the 16th note underneath it, this is like typical Slayer. Without like the whole riff is completely different. This was like not intentional, but when we figured it has also again the same vibe going, the same build up, so to say. It's well like, okay, why? Let's do that. A Cruel Night, a Force of Night, just to pay a tribute, a homage to Slayer, you know.
And the title track, which we will play at the end of the show here. Where'd you guys come up with the name? What was the idea behind the name of this album, Haneda?
So like when Spider and I went to see Iron Maiden on tour in Japan, we've been flying to Japan and landed in Tokyo, and we've been landing in Narita, and we were fascinated about like all the like in heavy metal and heavy rock there was always like the big feeling about like if you make it in Japan, you made it in the whole world kind of attitude, I would say. And you have like made in Japan, live in Budokan,
Haneda Air.
all the bands, all the records, Narita by Riot, and all those cool album titles, and the neon signs in Japan and all that. We were so impressed with it. So we didn't think much of it. We went to like record shopping, seeing all the Obis and like super inhaling the whole Japanese heavy rock vibe, And when we left after the Maiden shows, we were flying out from the other airport in Tokyo, which is Haneda. And I thought Haneda is a fucking cool name, Like I didn't think about it like, okay, our album will be called this or there will be a song, but it left like some impression, like I had some melodies in my head. So when I came home, I picked up the guitar and I had like so I built the song Haneda, which wasn't titled Haneda. And I thought like with the chorus, Haneda also fits on the words, would fit. So I thought, okay, I'll write a song about Haneda, which became a curse. So it has nothing to do with Japan anymore. We just nicked the name. And then I told the others in the rehearsal room about it. Spider obviously was fully up for it because he's been there. And of course, Carnivores and Gigi Alex face was like, what the fuck is Haneda, Like, what the fuck do you mean? Like this kind of thing, It's in total disbelief. Man, like now he's going crazy, but I knew, I felt it, but
Yeah.
But I
Next
think it's
album is called Düsseldorf Main Station.
And it works with the cover somehow. It just kind of, killer record. And what is next what do you guys have planned for? You guys got some festivals planned besides we talked about the Morbid show, obviously coming up here at the end of the month. What do you guys have planned for the summer?
We're playing Running Free in Bulgaria with Nasty Savage, and what was that? What else was on there?
Massacre,
Massacre.
Troops of Doom, Flames from Greece.
Right. Yeah. Fucking cool. And but that's it so far. As far as shows are concerned, I think. Yeah.
And anybody who wants any Cruel Force merchandise or anything, T-shirts, records, where would you send them?
Big Cartel. Cruel Force, Big Cartel.
Yeah, that's our online kind of shop. Where there's two options for official merchandise. It's either like you get it through us directly from the band, shipped by the band, designed by the band, or you get it from Shadow Kingdom Records, which is also kind of designed by the band. As we have to approve all the designs, and it's shipped out of the USA, which is easier for like the people on that continent. North America,
Yeah, the shipping costs right now are a bit much. I'm very surprised how many people still order from Germany. But
it's a pain in the ass to ship to the US right now. It's possible, but it costs like just for a 7-inch just to like tell the people like it was 28 euros, which is maybe like I don't know, like $30.
So I just picked up a record from Germany. I'm in Lithuania right now, actually. I go back between Lithuania and Tampa, and I picked up, and to come to Lithuania from Germany, which you would think it was 18 euros. I was like, holy shit, just for a 12-inch to come to you would think to the States it would make more sense, but I was kind of surprised the price to come over here. So, $18, or 18 euros. But yeah, man, guys, first of all, I want to thank both of you. I had one more question for you, Slaughter. What is your gear these days?
Sorry?
Your gear of choice that you're playing.
Yeah, guitar-wise?
Yeah, guitar-wise, setup-wise.
I usually play my my Flying V, my Gibson, my 70s Flying V. But I like many guitars. I love the Fender Strat a lot, which doesn't fit our style. And I bought a new guitar which I don't have yet. Maybe like people are familiar with the Lado guitars from Canada. Like I bought like the Earth model. That's what Adrian Smith used like during the World Slavery Tour and on the seventh tour and all these kind of stuff. So because Joe Lado, the guitar builder, he builds it himself. He's 81 years old. So he's doing the last models of these guitars. So I ordered one. This will be my new gear. But I will not have it before like end of 2027.
Well, guys, man, I cannot thank you enough for coming on the show and hanging out. I know you guys are, have a busy schedule and stuff, but I appreciate you guys got a new record out and stuff, and I appreciate you guys coming and hang out with us.
Thank you very much for the great interview. Very well like informed and all that. This was like felt good to have like this quality of interview. Like congrats.
I really appreciate that.
That's really good.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. And you guys are always welcome back, of course. And we're going to say goodbye to you guys here in a couple minutes. And everybody else, we're going to play the title track from the record, Haneda. And anything you could tell us about this track before we play it?
Yeah, it's an airport in Japan.
Yeah, guys, again, man, appreciate you. We'll say goodbye to you guys here in a few minutes. Everybody else, this is Cruel Force with Haneda off the Haneda record that came out on Shadow Kingdom Records, March 27th, 2026. And we'll be back on the morgue with me and Ed after this. Thanks again, guys. And that was Cruel Force with Haneda. And we want to thank Slaughter and Carnivore for hanging out with us. So I thought that was a killer interview, man. And as we always say, 136 in the books, Mr. Webb.
Yes, yes, and we were able to continue the trend, even though I'm in Europe. It was, like I said, it was a tough one today. There were so many things that were pointing to this was not going to happen.
Yeah, Ed's mic
Um,
got locked into the trailer. Just
Yeah, I took a picture too, and Kuba, who's the guitar, he's the whole tech for the whole
and
fucking
you said
thing.
he's been
This dude,
awesome, right?
dude, he is phenomenal. Yeah, he was the shit last time, but he just he makes sure everything is good. And I took a picture of the trailer to show you, like it's buried, and he pointed. His hands in the picture, pointing like way back there is where your mic is. So, but there was a guy here at the venue. I asked if I could borrow one of the stage mics, and he's like, "Nah, dude, here, use mine. I sing. I'm in a band that's playing tomorrow." And I was like, "Dude, that is so fucking awesome."
Do you know the
That's
band that
one.
he's in?
I don't. I don't. I'm
We'll,
gonna
we'll,
find
we'll
out.
find out for
sometime.
next one, and we'll give him a
I
shout
will.
out.
Well, I know he also works at the venue, so I
Which
hope
Ed
it's
also
good night.
doesn't know the name of.
Yes, I know. Dude, you know what's crazy is because I'm all over the road. Like, there's so much stuff going on behind the scenes. Like, we're pulled in so many different directions, and I'm battling some kind of a bunk demon right now. Um, when I get off of here, I'm hoping I don't have to throw somebody down some stairs and Angry Ed fucking
People
comes
doing a
out.
circle
But
jerk around your bunk.
yeah, I'm hoping that's not the case and it was an accident, but we'll find out. I'm not in it tonight anyway because I'm in a room, but some heads will roll if it's all good, man. It's having a great time. And I get to do the show as usual, so
Yeah, and you
keeping
get
the
to sleep
trend
with some
rolling.
air conditioning tonight, which is probably
Yeah, I turned that
maybe-
shit down before I left. I made sure it's Arctic in there. I hope I freeze.
Well, Ed, man, we're gonna, you're at the venue right now, and we're gonna let you get going on and do what you got to do and get some French food. But yeah, man, it's good to see you, and we'll be back next week. And as Ed always says, you can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you listen to podcasts, right, Webb? Um,
Apple, Spotify, Amazon. I mean, obviously YouTube, but no video. The thetampamorgue at gmail.com for correspondence, and hit that Instagram up because Facebook sucks.
Yeah, and if you're going to be catching the monstrosity on the Europe tour right now, make sure you say what's up to Webb and everybody else, man. We appreciate you listening, and as always, and we'll be back next week on the Tampa Morgue. And Ed, till next one, have a good one, man.
You too, brother.
Peace.
See ya.
This is King Fally from Deceased, and you just listened to another episode of the Tampa Morgue. Tune in next week and stay fucking dead.